Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
From the gas pump to the grocery store, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much-needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton, with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/switch. That's mintmobile.com/switch.
Hi, Ryan, and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration Podcast. We're in the endgame now.
Oh, you stole my fucking line. I told him yesterday I was going to say that. You fuck.
As always, I'm your host, Shravan. We have Taran with us, who's very unhappy about me stealing his line.
We're in the endgame now.
Nice.
Time travel.
Da-da.
And we have two returning guests. You would have heard them just 2 episodes ago. Bhaskar and Kireeti, they're back. They battled it out in the Avengers SuperCoach, but now they're back to talk Endgame spoilers. So we're going to do whatever it takes in this episode to spoil Endgame. So if you haven't seen it, definitely don't listen to this episode.
Everyone dies. No.
I accidentally spoiled something already, my bad.
Ned Stark dies and Dumbledore dies. Bad joke.
Well, it's good to be back after recording the SuperCoach session. So now we get to discuss what actually happened in the real life battle. So that's nice.
Okay, I thought we could talk about just our general feelings on the movie. So I'll start. So in our spoiler-free review, I said that walking out of the movie walking out of Endgame the first time, I thought Infinity War was actually better. I enjoyed Infinity War more because you walk out of...
Shit.
Yeah, you walk out of Infinity War and you're all hyped for the next one.
Oh, sure.
Whereas for this one, you're kind of... It's a bit
You're
sad.
not hyped.
It's
Okay.
a bit sad and it feels like it's the end. But Kireeti, Taran and I, we watched it for the second time this morning, 8 o'clock, which was the earliest show I've ever been to for a movie.
It's the earliest time I've ever bought so much Coke and popcorn.
Most healthy breakfast I've ever eaten.
Yeah, we all now have diabetes.
Breakfast of Champions.
And the second time, I think I've changed my mind. So after you kind of know where they're taking this story, it feels a lot more satisfying. I think you walk out satisfied with where they've taken it. So what were your guys' thoughts? I know a lot of people...
Did you actually walk out of Endgame the first time not liking it as much as Infinity War?
Yeah.
Or did you think that you weren't as hyped? You know what I mean? Because there's like a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah, no, it was that, and I think I also liked Infinity War more because it had a lot more satisfying things from my perspective in terms of what I wanted to see from the superheroes. In this, we also had a whole year to theorize what we wanted to see, and some things that I wanted to see didn't happen. So I think it was partly my own expectations that got in the way as well. But the second time you watch it, you kind of don't have that, and it's much more satisfying the second time. But I think you walked out and you loved Endgame the first time.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was freaking ridiculous. I walked in with so many expectations. Like, I was trying to, suppress my expectations. But I walked in with such high hopes. And, I walked out and I was totally happy. It surpassed my expectations. I was very happy.
After I had 24 hours to think about it, I started to like Endgame more. But then after the second viewing, I liked it even more. So how about Bhaskar?
So I wasn't expecting Endgame to have so much liberty with just taking time with the feelings of how...
No pun intended.
Yeah, just taking time with... Oh, yeah, no pun intended with the whole... Yeah, taking more time than I need.
Travel.
Time travel.
Best line in the movie.
Taran has a look of Doc Emmett Brown on his face right now. But it's like there's grief. There's grief when you lose half the population. And I think they could have easily just jumped into, let's get revenge, let's find him, let's get the stones back. But they took their time with just, finding out how everyone felt about losing their most loved people and having like everyone have lost someone important to them. I don't know how it felt second time around watching for you guys, but was it like a slow uptake to when things actually started hitting the ground for Endgame?
I didn't feel it was actually.
It's got enough levity in the slow moments that you kind of still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because that's where most of the funny parts are, kind of in that first 1 hour as well.
Yeah, the tension breakers.
Yeah. Time travel.
But as a
say that all throughout this podcast.
we definitely will be discussing the time travel threads and
So
and
within
stuff
my
here.
book.
But I think as a whole thing, I really felt Endgame was such a magnificently written and directed cinematic experience that I wasn't expecting. Like Kireeti said, I wasn't expecting some scenes to actually be fulfilled. Like they pulled it off amazingly well. I do understand the whole sentiment of Infinity War being the better delivered film because that was the build up. The build up was for Infinity War, it wasn't for Endgame. The build up was for Infinity War. Endgame was it's literally coming back to the Avengers. Like it's the first time I felt the Avengers were actually avenging, getting back what was taken from them.
There's been a line in the movie how Tony Stark's like, we're the Avengers, we do it after the fact, not the pre-Avengers.
Pre-Avengers, yeah. That was amazing.
They wait for someone to die and then they're like, oh shit, we should probably do something.
Like they tried to pull it off in Avengers 1 with Coulson dying, but that didn't really. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe. But this was hitting it home. That's Captain America going for it and finally having his moment and just getting everyone back for his cause. This movie was incredible. I think walking out the theaters first time, very emotional, very kind of, it's like that closure. Heck, just having no end credit scene, that was closure. That was just like.
Well, we'll talk about. Apparently, there is a sort of a hidden end credit sort of.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
That's some bloody
time travel.
Stop saying that.
Dude.
And
Taran, apart from time travel, anything you can add?
Taran's losing his shit.
I'm not going to say it again. Yeah, well, I think I had a different experience to what you two had coming out of the second time. Because you two said you still found it emotional the second time.
I actually found it more emotional the second time.
Yeah, well, because I knew what was coming, I found it less emotional and more enjoyable the second time. Whereas the first time it kind of hits you and it's like, oh shit,
I think the first time I was just shocked. So I couldn't comprehend some of what was happening. Same time I knew what to expect, so I was a bit more emotional.
Yeah, I think the first time, because the journey in this movie is it's pretty hectic. I mean, after things speed up very quickly and things just happen. And to an extent, you kind of know where it's going sometimes. And then some things just happen, you don't expect them. And so I think in the first time it was just I was just swept away with the movie. The second time, because you kind of know where it's going, then you take everything in.
Sit back and enjoy it a bit more and take everything in. Yeah. So I found it better the second time than the first time. I still think there's parts in Infinity War that I enjoy more than this in terms of action and stuff like that. But this is overall a better movie.
I think enjoyment-wise, I think I still enjoyed it the first time more. I enjoyed it the most the first time because by what I mean in enjoyment is getting swept up by the emotion of all of it and just not knowing what's going to happen and just being blown away so many times.
I think it's just the last kind of 10 minutes that the first time was just shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first time, I was so caught up in those moments that I was which is really good, but obviously you notice more, I guess, second time around. So
I think this film did something that I haven't experienced before in another film. First 10 minutes in, everything happens that you expect to happen in the film. They come in, they find him, they kill him, and there's I
thought the whole movie was going to be that. That's what got me.
Yeah, that's what got me.
It would take 3 hours to get there.
Everyone was theorizing that there'd be this whole moment of everyone's going to build up, go there, somehow fail, come back half beaten, and then battle again. Everything happened in 10 minutes, and that's it. He's done. He's gone. Everyone's like, what now? Movie goes black, and it's holy cow, there's 2.5 hours left. How are they going to feel? What's going to happen? How are they going to reconcile this? And it's just you're actually sitting in your seat going, crap, I don't know what's going to happen now.
Well, this movie wasn't meant to be getting revenge on Thanos. I think it was more meant to be getting the people that were lost back.
Repairing the damage.
Because they get the revenge in the first 10 minutes. Like you said, they killed
time travel?
Yeah.
He's just
waiting for it.
He can't stop.
He can't suppress himself.
That entire motif of getting revenge doesn't do anything. That's why Thor is the way he is in this film. It's just he's the embodiment of that whole, like, yeah, even though he got revenge personally, that grief is still with him.
Yeah.
It's so raw for him. It's just like he couldn't get over it.
That's the best. I think that's the best thing that they also do emphasize. Like Thor, like, you know, he chops his head off. He like chops his arm off, chops his head off, and but then like he actually realized that it wasn't even like. I think everything catches up to him. It's not just what Thanos did, but it's just like he's lost his mum, he's lost his dad, he's lost Asgard, and like lost his brother, and it's like
lost his hammer.
Lost his hammer on top of that. Yeah, fucking Captain America stole his hammer.
Lost his eye.
Yeah. Got a shit eye in return.
Got one with a different color.
Lost his six pack. Like he's just
and return for that, he just gained a lot of weight.
But even before that, it's when Thanos says the stones are gone. That's it. The lack, just the complete bereftness of hope in Thor's voice when he goes, "I went for the head." That's it. It's just like.
But it's also like, I think Thor was like holding on to this hope that even if they get the Infinity Stones, it actually won't repair everything for him either. But he was just hoping that doing what needs to be done would somehow sort it out. So let's say even if they sorted it back out, I think he would have still had to deal with something. And, you know, like I don't know. I mean, we talk about fucking all these theories about time travel and whether some people can be revived or not. But like, even if they unclicked it at that point, like Loki, I guess, might have still been dead. His mum and dad are still dead and his planet's gone. But it's just the fact, on top of this, the universe has been fucked over. Someone won against all of them. It's just like, he feels so shit. Like, that's him in the whole movie. He's fucked.
So I wanted to center this conversation around the characters.
Yep.
And we'll go into the story.
So we did Thor first.
So we're doing Thor. I actually had a thing to say
Thor
about
is the
that.
best. Captain Marvel sucks.
Just kidding. Captain Marvel, at the very start, Captain Marvel's like, let's go kill Thanos. And that's when Thor, like before that, Thor's very subdued. He's just sitting by himself in a room and he's not talking to anyone. And then Captain Marvel's like, let's go kill Thanos. That's when he gets up and he's like, let's do this. Because he thinks that's going to solve all his problems. But obviously he finds out later that wasn't...
And it's really good because it's a perfect continuation of what happens in Infinity War. Like his whole thing is just, he's fucked me over. I need to go get this amazing, you know, weapon and fuck him over, like get revenge. It's all about just that revenge. He misses the first time, doesn't get him, and then Captain Marvel's like, let's go get him. So it's like, all right, that's it. For him, that's all it is. There's nothing else going on.
It's not necessarily just revenge. There was a line in Infinity War where it's like, what else can I lose? And it's that point where he's just, the only thing left in his like, the only reason why he's here is to right or wrong. And I think that was the hype moment in Infinity War when he turns up with Stormbreaker and Groot and Rocket Raccoon. Everyone's just there and it's just like, that's the hype moment. But the end of the film was very different. And then is that fallout of, okay, what as a character, did he feel like he did everything he could to stop it? Did he you know, he has a bit of regret not going for the head, obviously.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. But then now it's like, okay, now we can go kill Thanos, do something about it. There's something that could be done. But again, that's all false hope because he doesn't actually know what there is to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that he says he has nothing to lose, I think that also plays a role because he feels like once he gets rid of Thanos, like he's lost everyone.
Yeah.
So he
doesn't have anything to live for anymore.
And actually, Thor's kind of been disconnected a bit from Earth as well, like in his movies, right? So then he doesn't even, because you know how like
he doesn't even have Jane anymore.
Yeah,
which he goes
this
into.
mutual
hey,
dumping.
The dumping was mutual, but
it's funny is this how he's like, oh, she's an old flame of mine.
he goes up into his own story. Everyone's just trying to stop him. They don't want to hear the story.
I was talking to Shravan about that scene, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck's happening?"
Except
and then they go to Ant-Man. Ant-Man's like, "Oh, this is cool."
Ant-Man's like amazed. He's like, "Oh, whoa." Hey. That's the best part.
He's having a good time.
I think Ant-Man's like converted his hero from Captain America to Thor. He's like, holy shit, this guy's gone. Hey man, that's a heck of an origin story.
When he finishes his story, Tony Stark's like, "What's a breakfast?" It's like, "No, I'll have a Bloody Mary." Anything else about Thor?
Just that scene in the hut where he's just completely downtrodden and you see him for the first time. I just love the moment when Hulk came in and he's like, "You're the one who helped me get up. So this is your moment now. We've got a chance to come and do something." And he's obviously just, like you said, he's lost his purpose. He's found his revenge, but it hasn't brought him any solace. And that is like, that's PTSD in a shell. All right there. He's just reeling from the effects. Doesn't know how to get away from it. So I think his arc thereafter just kind of finding a purpose to now try and fix something. Meeting his mum, that was lovely.
His arc is still not kind of complete though, because towards the end he's still not, he hasn't found meaning at all. He's kind of just still lost. But he's like, for the first time, let's try and do something for myself instead of something for everyone else.
Yeah,
But I think at least there's he has a bit of a positive edge in that the Asgardians of the galaxy are there. And like, obviously he's been through everything with Rabbit or Rocket Raccoon. So like, I think there is something positive that can happen and make some sort of meaning out of everything. But I think he also discovers that, you know, how he gives the title away to Valkyrie. Yeah, just realizes he just needs to find out, get his own shit together, essentially.
For the first time, he's filling his own shoes. He's not trying to take care of something, rule something.
Which is what he says. Yeah.
That's just him. He's got his own path now, which is great.
The part we just talked about where Hulk goes to recruit Thor, pretty much. It took me back to Avengers 1. You know, when Avengers 1, so it shows where Hulk's come from as well. So in Avengers 1, Natasha goes to recruit Hulk.
Yeah.
And he's in a hut, hiding away from everyone. So it's come full circle.
That is
Hulk
full
as
circle.
well.
Yeah.
How does Thor enter the first Avengers? Oh, he rocks up on their ship, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, to take out
And that
Loki.
line is like, when Captain America doesn't know what's going on, and like, I think Romanov's like,
I wouldn't deal with them. They're kind of gods.
yeah, we're now in the territory of gods or something. Like, these are gods. There's only one god.
There's only one god, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't look like that.
Yeah. But he kind of does. He's like this dude with a bloody beard that looks like Jesus. Have you seen him in Ragnarok? He looks like Jesus in Ragnarok. That little painting that falls off.
Yeah, more or less. Which is a funny callback to what happens with him wielding Mjolnir in this one. So
Yeah. Which is something I predicted. It wasn't in our episode. I said it after our episode last time, but
You guys said it, but I was like, nah. They won't. But I wasn't disappointed. As a big Thor fan, as Thor being I wasn't like disappointed by it. I thought it was pretty good.
I wanted to go to the next. So in that recruitment phase, Natasha goes to meet our favorite, Hawkeye. Oh. So the start of the movie is with Hawkeye's family, and as we all predicted, his family gets snapped away, and then he becomes this vigilante and goes around the world killing people.
So hey, this whole
you asked me this, didn't you?
Yeah, Ronin.
Yeah.
What's
his motive, or what's the deal with him? So Ronin is him when he goes rogue and starts killing.
Does
people.
He call himself Ronin?
Yes.
Yeah.
And do they really talk about that in Endgame? Do they mention the name Ronin?
Ronin is
it's a comic book thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But he is Ronin.
Yeah, gotcha. In the movie, he is.
Yes.
But they don't.
Because Ronin uses swords as well.
But they don't outwardly say that this guy is Ronin. They don't say Ronin.
They didn't say it.
Because they talk about Barton. That's his name, Clint Barton.
That's his actual name, yeah.
But if you look at the toys named Ronin.
Okay, sure. So it's like this reference that's definitely present, and they definitely... But
so
they
he's
don't.
Ronin,
yes.
Cool. But basically, he goes and kills people because his family died.
And he's not using arrows because is that too much of a reminder about his daughter?
He's still using arrows, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he doesn't at that stage. He's just got swords.
He uses both.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
If you think about...
In that fight scene, he was just
carving them up.
Just cutting bodies.
I feel bow and arrow is a bit too distant, but a sword is personal. It's like you get up close.
That's true.
And you feel the pain of the other.
Yeah.
Whereas a bow and arrow, you don't feel the other. You're far away from the action. And I think he just wanted to really get up close and personal with that revenge. It's pretty dark, but yeah.
It's similar to what Thor did, I guess. He's like, I guess if killing all these bad people will somehow make me feel better.
But the snap has different effects on all the Avengers.
That's the best part. I think that's one of the best things about this movie is they don't just skip over that effect.
Yeah.
It really comes into the movie. That's the biggest part. That's why this movie is, I think, so good.
It really grounds it, and you see like all those pillars erected to remember the dead.
Exactly. It's very convincing for why all of this is happening. It's not just like
we had terrorist attacks here, literally one year within, they built monuments to kind of commemorate those people, and here it's like, wow, that's happened. It happened in Avengers. I think after Avengers 1, you see in Captain America: Winter Soldier, they've erected memorials for all those who passed away during the collateral damage after the first Avengers or something, and it was like that was another reminder of like, okay, well, there is collateral damage that does happen, but this really kind of
and
put
that
it home.
sign. I think that so when Ant-Man rocks up trying to find out whether whether Hope's been declared dead,
his
then
daughter.
he finds his
daughter.
No, it's from Cassie.
Cassie,
is it?
Yeah.
But he's also looking for Hope. He also says Hope.
Yeah, I think
looking for Cassie.
He's looking for
I
both.
think he does look for both.
But he goes to Cassie first.
Yeah.
Doesn't see her, but sees his name.
Yeah.
But like that whole monument is very similar to if you've been to Ground Zero in New York. It's like all the names there at the 9/11 site are in the same way. Like they're like etched into this surface, and like you go there and you're like, holy shit! And it's pretty much the same thing, except like a shit ton of people, I would presume. So
yeah. Hawkeye, I guess he does have he features, he was in Infinity War. He features a lot more in this one, and he does a lot of stuff in this one. He has the arc with Natasha as well, because you see them from the beginning in Avengers and their relationship and how it's transformed over the years. And then we also get to Vormir, where I actually really like that scene where first I thought Hawkeye would go, and then you think Black Widow is going to go, and then it switches, and
yeah.
Actually, get the Soul Stone.
I never knew he was actually going to go then.
Yeah.
And then Red Skull goes, fuck this bloke.
They should go up to Red Skull and be like, I love you. Just chuck him down. He's like, oh shit, they got me.
That's
Loophole.
that's the one thing that confused me. He said that you have to sacrifice the one you love the most.
Yeah.
Was it ever established that they
No,
loved?
I think it's not love the most. I think it's just sacrifice something you love.
Oh, it's just something you love. It wasn't
Even
like,
if
But I
you say
think-
love
yeah.
the most, right?
I think at that stage it is her, because he's lost all his family.
No, but I don't think it's not like most as in number one most love, but it's like the people you love the most, right?
So a soul for a soul.
You can't chuck your PS4 down there.
Well, no one's tried.
I was gonna just take my boot off and chuck that in there, get like shoe sole, and they'd be like, Red Skull will just kill me after that one.
It's a pun. Give me the soul stone, bitch.
Yeah.
Loophole.
I love the reference when they were both in the jet and they were like, this is much better than Budapest.
Budapest, yeah.
Third damn reference and we don't know what happened yet.
I know.
Maybe in the prequel.
Yeah.
But also, I think one thing I didn't really pick up the first time I watched it, but then I picked up this time. They kind of emphasize. So Natasha tears up when
War Machine?
War Machine, yeah. What's his
Rhodey?
name?
Yeah.
Rhodey.
Yeah.
When Rhodey talks about what the damage that Clint's doing as Ronin, she starts tearing up because of that, and she's like, shit, I've really lost this guy, or whatever it is, I can't really help him. He's like gone beyond this. So I never really understood what was happening the first time I watched it, but then I really understood that she's actually really worried about him, and so emphasizes kind of that whole scene on to get this also on Volodymyr.
Yeah.
Boromir.
And even in
One
the
does
first-
not simply.
Even in the first Avengers, she's really the only one that's quite concerned that Hawkeye's being taken up by Loki. Everyone else is like, yeah, whatever. But
That's
she's-
how she gets recruited, remember?
Yeah.
Colson's like, Barton's compromised, and then she's like, oh fuck, I should go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess we're talking about Natasha. Let's Black Widow. What's she?
Also known as Scarlet Witch.
We've been getting confused with the names. I think I was the first one to pull that off in the SuperCoach.
1980s movie about a Russian operative, Scarlet.
Is that actually a movie? Are you just talking absolutely through your ass?
No.
Look it up right now. Is that a movie?
I'm gonna look it up. Featuring the Academy Award-winning Jennifer Lawrence.
You're thinking about Red Sparrow.
Red
You're
Sparrow,
thinking about
Red
Red
Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Red Sparrow.
Red Sparrow has got nothing to do with. Oh my God.
There you go. So Red Sparrow.
What? So Scarlet is
No.
like red.
Red. Yeah.
Sparrow. Sparrows are witches.
There's the logical connection right there.
No, I need to find out what the hell this Scarlet movie is.
No, he was thinking about Red Sparrow.
I was thinking about Red Sparrow.
No, there still could be a movie called Scarlet. Scarlet, Russian operative.
It's gonna come up with a Natasha Romanoff. That's one.
Alleged Russian operative Maria Butina to plead guilty. That's all I'm getting.
That's what Bhaskar was thinking of.
That's precisely what I was thinking. But yeah, no, her. I don't think anyone really. We don't get to see what her origin story is or her past story. We just get little glimpses here and there. I think mostly in Age of Ultron when she gets mind fucked by.
You can say her actual name now.
By Scarlet Witch.
We never see those powers from Scarlet Witch again. Her where
She shelves it. She
what? She
What
can make
power?
people get nightmares.
No, that's the Mind Stone, isn't it? That is the Mind Stone. That's what the Mind
That's
Stone.
that's one of her powers.
Is that her power or is that? Yeah, well, that's from the Mind Stone, right?
Yeah.
As in, I thought the Mind Stone. It's called the Mind Stone, right? So you're putting like thoughts into people, and since the scepter is used to convince people to do retarded shit, and Captain America Captain America just uses it to
himself.
subdue himself after he finds out Bucky's still alive.
No, I was going to say at the start, so she's basically... She has a lot of scenes in this movie where she talks about how the Avengers were her family and how she's lost her only family and all of that. And she's kind of taken charge of the people that remain. So she has meetings with like Rocket, Captain Marvel, and
she's like the new Nick Fury.
Yeah, but she's obviously still hurting from all the loss.
And you can tell that she wants everyone to come back together and be good because like she keeps ask Captain Marvel if she's going to come back to Earth anytime soon.
Yeah.
Ask like Rocket and stuff about this, all these things. So like she wants people to come back together again, but she knows that even if they do, there's just that things are missing. Shit's gone wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's also the one that really tries to convince Tony to get on board with the time travel stuff when they go to his place.
Yeah.
There's one really important small thing when they were both talking about Red Skull. Natasha said that when Clint asked her if she believed in Red Skull, she was like, he knew my father's name. And then Clint's like, yeah, he knew mine too. But then Natasha's like, oh, but I didn't. So that just shows me that there's maybe a little bit more left there to kind of answer.
I think that Red Skull could have just been lying. He could have said any name. She doesn't know.
Hey, did you get the reference? Red Skull, Red Sparrow, Scarlet Witch.
Everything's
red.
There's just two reds there. That's why she had to kill herself.
And the Soul Stone is orange.
Blood.
And I'm colorblind, so it looks like red to me. Hey, another thing actually that this is kind of unrelated, but in regards to Scarlet Witch is she couldn't convince Iron Man, etc. The first time when I watched... Huh?
Black Widow.
Oh my god.
It's an epidemic. It's seriously an epidemic.
Time travel. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Black Widow. So I didn't realize the whole time I was like, oh yeah, this whole movie, it's going to be them trying to return to that place where Thanos is and trying to fuck Thanos, right? And they do it so quickly that I didn't even realize that Iron Man didn't go with them until I watched it the second time. I'm like, shit, he was never, I mean, it made sense, but I didn't even notice that the first time. I was like, nah, this is bullshit. This has not happened. This is definitely Reality Stone, blah, blah, blah. Oh,
I
shit,
actually
he's
thought it
dead.
was a Reality Stone as well. You know when they turn up and all the stones are gone? I thought he was using the Reality Stone to make it look like they're all gone.
Yeah. I thought the whole thing was bullshit. I was just waiting for that, like in Infinity War, the whole around them to just evaporate, but...
Was Hulk there with the Hulkbuster?
Yeah, he was there with the Hulkbuster. He's like been under the ground the whole time. That's the cool thing about him and Rhodey. They just rock up from the ground. I'm like, did you guys just find some secret entrance? Did you have a map of his fucking hut before you went?
They just dug underground. Give us the signal, guys.
Use dig.
Wait one turn.
So Black Widow, they've announced a movie with her, a solo movie.
I think...
Prequel?
I think it's going to happen, yeah.
Prequel?
No, it's definitely going to happen because they've already cast people.
Have they officially cast people or have they internet cast people?
I think it's
official.
Official.
David Harbour said he's doing it and it'll be like a spy operative movie.
Nice.
Emma Watson's rumoured to be in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Emma Watson.
As Scarlet Witch.
I don't know.
As Hermione.
Yeah. This is set in 1980 Hogwarts.
This is the thing. She puts like this spell on Black Widow that makes her think that the Avengers exist. And like this whole time she's just been absolutely fucked.
Yeah. She's actually, it's all in her mind.
It's all in her. Stupid muggle.
Black Widow is Hermione's mum.
Yeah. The chick from Game of Thrones.
Who's that? Wait, what?
The mum from Game of Thrones.
Which mum?
Catelyn Stark?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah. I think she's Hermione's mum. Pretty sure she is.
What do you mean the mum from Game of... There's a lot of mums floating around Game of Thrones, mate.
Oh, you mean Deathly Hallows? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she is.
In Deathly Hallows, she was cast as Hermione's mother. Yeah.
Oh, really?
When she was doing the memory wipe.
What? You thought I just made that up?
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I didn't watch Deathly Hallows. I didn't properly watch it because the movies are bullshit.
How did we get to Deathly Hallows?
I don't know.
Emma Watson rocked up.
Emma Watson might be in Black Widow.
Oh, Black Widow solo film.
Well, some people say that, she's dead now, that we don't have as much invested interest, but I think it still would be quite interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Or maybe a sequel.
The other option is it is a sequel, So I heard this theory. So apparently Gamora, when when Iron Man clicked his fingers, Gamora actually went to dust, and they're going to try to look for the Gamora that went missing from the Soul Stone in Guardians 3, and as a result, they're going to find Black Widow as well.
What do you mean went missing from the... They die. They're dead.
They're dead, yeah.
What do you mean they don't go missing?
So they go into the Soul Stone when they die.
Said who?
In the Soul
Said
Stone.
Infinity War.
Do they?
Do you remember in Infinity War
think
where
Red Skull's there.
Thanos clicks his fingers and then he kind of goes to sleep and wakes up in this orange area?
Well, he doesn't
And then
click his fingers, but he
he
gets
snaps his fingers in Infinity War.
Oh, right. Getcha. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he
And he
wakes
meets
up
Gamora.
He meets Gamora. So
That's
that's
the-
inside the Soul
Oh,
Stone.
so you're saying that Gamora that he met
wow.
wasn't just a vision, that was actually
No, that's inside the Soul Stone.
inside the Soul Stone. Ah, okay.
And then is that why Scarlet Witch says that they know? Like when they're talking about, I just wish we could tell Black Widow and...
Maybe she just...
I think
said
she was
that.
just saying that.
She's just talking out of her ass to please explain that.
But she could have a connection
She could.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, she could, yeah.
because she seems to be like that sort of, she feels the emotions of Vision or what's
Yeah.
going on.
That's interesting. So, because if that means that they get to relive their life, like because you see Gamora as a child,
Yeah.
does that mean Scarlet Witch goes back to her childhood and then
I think it's their soul in like their purest form, I
Right.
guess.
Or the person who
Holds
sacrifices them, it's what their vision of them is. 'Cause-
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would have thought. Is
Yeah.
that Thanos is Thanos? That's when he first met Gamora when she was little and innocent and whatever. So that's who he always thinks of. When he thinks of her.
Yeah.
Interesting theory. Yeah.
So they could still be, both of them could just be hanging out in the Soul Stone.
Well, me and Tron were talking about it and we're like, Guardians 3 may just end up being Avengers.
Avengers 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you already have Thor as part of them? So yeah, who knows?
Thor and potentially Black Widow. So that's an option as well.
I feel like.
But I feel like it's not.
Yeah.
Yes.
She might be gone.
Very
forever.
unlikely. I feel like she. I mean, do you reckon? Sure, they could recast. They'll probably will recast if they do it. Don't you think? You reckon Scarlett Johansson is
No,
going to?
she's
she
the
wants,
lead.
She's in the Black Widow movie.
No, I know, but like later on, if they're going to do it, I think she'll be done. Like
Oh, yeah, she'll probably be
a lot of
done,
these
like,
actors want to close their chapter when it comes with
Yeah.
certain characters, at least.
So it'll probably
Yeah.
just be like a one-off prequel, I guess, if I were to say
Yeah.
what it would be.
Should be interesting.
Okay. We'll talk about time travel, the Hulk.
Time travel!
We'll get into it.
So we meet him. So what I thought, I knew, well, I didn't know, but I thought that Hulk would be Professor Hulk in this movie. So Professor Hulk is the combination of Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Yeah.
Did I say that sometime?
No, you
I
didn't.
said,
You said Abomination. You said
I said-
Yeah, you kept talking about the abomination, man.
Fuck, the Abomination did show up. I'm so pissed off.
Your idea was an abomination. The prediction was an abomination.
I'm pretty sure I said the Professor Hulk in
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah, so we thought that he'd be in this movie, but I thought we'd see his evolution into Professor Hulk, but they just cut to him being Professor Hulk, which I didn't mind.
Is that a thing? So that's a thing from the cartoons, the comics, or something? That
Comics, yeah.
Comics,
So he gets to a stage where him and the Hulk, Bruce Banner and the Hulk, become one entity. So
I actually thought, well, I don't know. In my head, what could have been cool is if he has full control, but doesn't simultaneously have to be the Hulk and him. As in, you can willingly go into the Hulk, and the Hulk can willingly go into. You know what I mean? Just because I like seeing that transformation. That it's always epic watching Bruce Banner go into the Hulk.
It is,
Especially like that first, what's my secret? I'm always angry. And he fucking just takes out that alien ship that Ant-Man actually does this time, but same sort of move, bang. But
even in this, I
it's
think
still cool. I
they
love it.
they took the edge out of Bruce Banner. Even in Hulk form, he wasn't combat ready. He was always like he was fully there, and he was like but he's like Zen. He's just completely
he was
Zen.
definitely more Bruce Banner than the Hulk. That's
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's just the Hulk body, but the rage is gone.
The mind is just
Yeah.
Bruce Banner,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes I feel like also there wasn't much Hulk fighting.
No, there wasn't. That's one thing I was going to say. So in terms of this movie, I wanted to see Hulk really turn up in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And
definitely.
take on Thanos, but we didn't see that, unfortunately.
Yeah, same. You just want that because there's so many movies that we've seen so far, and I struggle to know which ones are actually in the MCU because we talk about like Ed Norton's movie.
That's an MCU.
Yeah, technically.
So like you see him just go apeshit so much in all the Avengers movies, and then last movie and this movie there's not as much Hulk.
In the first Avengers, he was the MVP. He was like the guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He was.
He was the guy. That final scene where he just grabs Loki by the ankle and slaps him around like a rag doll. That was pure. That was that was the Thor coming into Wakanda with Stormbreaker. That was the scene for Avengers.
I think one of the best scenes of the MCU is when he's like, Captain America's like, it's time to get angry, and then he's like, "That's the thing, Captain.
That's what
I'm always angry."
Yeah.
Like,
It's just,
When he goes and smashes the alien ship, when I saw that in the I got chills when I saw that because I was like, that's like such a good line that he's always just got this rage inside him, and all he needs to do is just let it out. Or like that when they're in Age of Ultron, like he can't lift up the hammer, so he's like, and just tries to make him shit their pants.
make shit happen.
Yeah. So we don't get anything like that.
But he does wear the gauntlet.
That's one. Exactly. So he does the most important thing.
He saves the
He
day.
actually does the most important thing in the movie.
he brings them all back.
Yeah.
That's the moment we've all been waiting for, and I think and that line where he said it's almost like it's mostly gamma radiation.
It's
I can
as
take
if I
it
was made for
as
this.
if I was made for it.
Yeah.
That just got me thinking that what if during the time travel split there was some sort of like divergence where they were actually initiating the Hulk project to try and make this happen because there was no one else who could wield it on Earth. Maybe there was like some sort of inspiration to make the Hulk for this purpose in some weird kind of time
As in
continuum type of shit.
Oh wow, okay. Someone was experimenting with the field of energy that they thought was Infinity Stone related.
Purely for this aspect, because they knew that maybe at one point he would have to wield it because at that point no one else could.
The reason they made the Hulk was to
Try to make Captain America.
try to make Captain America but with gamma radiation. That was the original reason.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't actually know what the origin.
It's like a failed superhero.
Yeah,
Serum.
They wanted to do
soldier.
super soldiers.
And who's in charge of that project? Is it someone
Bruce
evil
Banner.
or someone?
Bruce
Bruce Banner himself
Yeah,
is
he was
trying
him.
to.
And he experimented on himself.
But
Okay.
Bruce Banner thought it was for cellular regeneration or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's actually a military project by General Ross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. General Ross is there at the
He
end.
was.
Yeah, he
at the
was,
end,
he was.
yeah.
He was, yeah.
He was at the funeral. Yeah.
One of the first
But
people.
he's also
to-
like he's higher than General. He becomes like
Oh,
secretary.
yeah,
of,
Secretary of State, doesn't he?
I was surprised that they continued with the same. I was like, fair enough, because he's in Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the Hulk, yeah.
Yeah, the Ed
Incredible
Norton
Hulk,
one.
yeah.
I actually really liked the Ed Norton Hulk because Ed Norton as an actor is total opposite. I mean, same with Mark Ruffalo. They're very like when they speak very calmly, and
I
you
think-
would not think that.
I think in terms of this MCU now, like post Avengers, Mark Ruffalo is a much better Hulk to have than Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Because he's funnier.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ed Norton's like in real life is apparently crazy.
Yeah, he's a dick.
It's
I think it would have been hard to work with him, especially with all these actors.
Yeah.
He used to be Robert Downey Jr. and Ed Norton just not getting along at all.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
Ed Norton used to apparently used to come to set with an entire fresh script that he wrote himself. And he just wing it, and the directors would have to say, all right, screw it, let's go with it.
Wow.
So you can't work with someone like that professionally.
That's
in that
also
case.
like what's his name? Who the guy that
Did
played
you
Batman?
Palantalia.
You guys were definitely not thinking of who was on. It was the guy that plays Batman in Dark Knight. What's his name?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale is also like Ed Norton.
Oh, Christian Bale,
absolutely
yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
They both like live in their character, so they're spastics on set.
Have you heard him, Christian Bale?
Terminator.
Yell at the director?
Terminator something. No,
yeah.
it's not the director.
No, the director, it's an
like there's
assistant.
light
It's a cameraman or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he absolutely
And
rages.
the thing is, so when you hear him talk normally, he's got a Welsh accent. So he's still in character when he's yelling at that guy because he's got an American accent.
Yeah.
Wow, ultimate troll.
That's how method he is.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Bit of a taboo slip into DC there.
Yeah, we keep going everywhere on this one.
So back to the
Hulk.
Hulk.
Hulk. Anything else about the Hulk?
The best scene that we were discussing is the taco scene.
Oh my gosh. That was the time in the film when I just put my hands up going, who is this guy? Like it's so cool to see him just in the zen. Giving his taco to bloody Scotland. Just walking along.
I think it's the best scene. It's the best scene.
so funny.
It's such a fucking dumb scene. Like it's so dumb that it's incredible.
And the music.
The music, the fact that the tacos are just made out of shit. Like the worst tacos ever.
And
Disappointment.
just the fact that Hulk makes tacos. Like, how is he making these tacos?
And like he's so happy. He's just like, I was saying to you this time.
Mark Ruffalo wouldn't have done that as Bruce Banner. I don't think he would have done. It's just the fact that he's the Hulk. He's become extra nice.
Well, now
It's like it's become like a bit more confident because as Bruce Banner, he's always reserved because he's like, if I get too excited, I'll become the Hulk.
Yeah.
But
he's happy
now
with everything, man.
Yeah,
he's taking selfies with people.
That's the other thing, because in Avengers 1, Bruce Banner is the most sort of subdued. He stays away from all the conflict, and he's that guy. And then post-snap, he's the one that's got the most together out of all of them. Like, probably him and Captain America.
I think it's because he's always had his shit everywhere. So it's like, I've always had my shit everywhere.
So he's already had all this, turmoil in his life with the Hulk and him, and so he's kind of been through all this before, whereas all these other characters are experiencing for the first time.
Well, saying that, Captain America, he's basically lost all his friends twice. So this is the second time.
Yeah.
So that's why he kind of deals with it okay. But you see Tony Stark, he's
fucked.
He's gone. Thor's become alcoholic, and
that's the interesting thing about Tony Stark is that all these people have died, but he's very happy with the family he's got.
But is he?
Well, that's the thing. It's like he doesn't want to lose this, but wants that back, and he doesn't know how it's going to work. Which I think ultimately is why they bring people back as they were, but 5 years later, because he doesn't want to lose it. He doesn't want to just revert to that point. Yeah.
Actually,
which probably could do, maybe. Probably could.
You can do whatever you want. You can bring them all back as pigs if you want.
Unless you got into the duck world and
got out the duck.
The thing with Tony Stark is in the first Iron Man, you know that he doesn't care about people. Like, that's his character at the start of the movie.
Yep.
But then he sees the stuff happening in Afghanistan, and
he meets that doctor, which is like one big turning point.
And he's not related to any of those people, but he generally wants to do good. Like, he wants to save.
I think he thinks he's doing good, even when he's selling the weapons. He's like, I'm helping people.
I think
making the world
But then when
safe.
he sees the direct impact of what he's done, even though he didn't even sell it to those guys, the fact that his weapons were stolen and used for bad things, he was like, shit, this is the reality of it all.
He felt responsible.
And then his own guns were used against him, right? They have his guns and they pointed at him to hold him hostage.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, fuck.
That comes back to this movie where it's within his power to save the whole universe. He can do it. He's got the tools to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Pepper says, can you rest? Like, it's not your character to do this. Like, if you can do something if you're responsible for something, you will do it.
Yeah, and that's a big change. Like, he's restless because he knows that something needs to be fixed, and
he's the one that can do it. Yeah.
It's called back as well when he goes back in time to meet his father, and he's just having a chat, and somewhere Howard slips in this sentence where it's like, my wife thinks I always put the greater good behind my self-interest, but I know what the correct order is. And that line itself, I felt like Tony had a snap moment there where it's like, okay, now I know what matters.
Well, Tony asks him, he's like, why don't you want your son to turn out like you? Because he says he prefers a daughter, not a son, because his son might turn out like him.
Right.
And then Tony's like, why is that such a bad thing? And that's what he says.
Yeah.
So
Howard says he rarely puts
the greater good in front of his self-interest.
Yeah.
Because it is true. Howard Stark built his
empire.
His empire
on military and basically just selling weapons.
Yeah.
Not really caring.
And that's what Tony also inherited as a result.
So it's not like he it's not like Howard Stark was a saint, I guess.
Yeah.
But Tony feels like he could be better than his father almost.
Yeah,
and
which is something
like his father expects him to be better as well.
Yeah.
From what his father says.
And we see a lot of that internal conflict in Iron Man 2, actually, when he's trying to find what made his father special and what made him special. And that little arc, like by the end of Iron Man 1, we see he's a reformed character. He's not just a douche anymore. Now by Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, he's like slowly he's not just heading up the Avengers, but he's also in charge of like worldwide reform on all sorts of things. And then you go to Civil War where now is a schism. Though he wants to put as he said, a suit of armor around the world.
Yeah.
And that's the conflict.
He's still talking about that at the start of this movie.
He was.
Yeah.
And
actually, he talks about that. The suit of armor thing was Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
It was the Ultron project, but I think he had a vision of, even after Ultron went wrong.
He has a vision. Very good.
He had a vision to fix Ultron and make him or somehow, I don't know what the full idea was. Another callback to Age of Ultron. I think Tony Stark got the idea of settling down, having that whole, just like ranch for himself after visiting Clint and his family. And there's a line where he says, wouldn't this be nice, Cap, just to have our own place and settle down? And that's where I feel he got that idea from. Like, this would be the ultimate thing if I could have it. we see him. He's got his own place. He's got his own ranch. He's got
Very similar to
very similar
to
to Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye, the MVP.
And then the
guy
cool
that defeats Doctor Strange.
oh my gosh.
And Cap actually references that at the end of the movie when he's old, and he's like, I thought I'd try the lifestyle that Tony was telling me to get.
Yeah.
In terms of having a family.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it's because Tony keeps telling Captain America to get a life, just bloody, you need to get a life, and so he's like, well, I got the life that he kept saying, as in the insult. But yeah,
we'll get to Captain America in a second, but we'll finish with Tony.
Yeah.
So he's obviously come full circle. So he was the one that started it. There was this theory about his hand, how they keep showing his hands in the movie, and he keeps injuring his hand.
Do you know this theory? It's a bit stupid in terms of, his hand's going to do something special at the end. I think it's just, I work as a physiotherapist, you're a doctor. If you injure your left hand and then you get impacted on the same hand like 2 years later, you're just more likely to injure it.
yeah. So wait, what was the
So the theory is that throughout the whole series,
he's always known, or he always feels something. Is it?
He's always injuring his hand. He's always injuring his hand, and
Is he?
His left hand.
his left hand in particular. And there's also a lot of emphasis on just his hand.
But he doesn't use his left hand to click.
That's the thing. He
yeah.
uses his right hand to click.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was
I think it's just
intentional.
I think it's just good continuity in the universe in terms of
injury.
He keeps injuring his left hand because that hand has been injured and it's weaker now.
Yeah. But that being said,
When does he injure his hand?
He injures it in
basically every
Are they
movie.
big injuries?
no.
They're just like little. Okay, sure.
stingers.
Basically in
yeah.
every movie. In Civil War, he injures it as well.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 when he gets knocked out of the car by that electrical dude. He's in a sling for a bit and it's like...
Yeah.
But I think it is poetic in the sense that the first shot of Tony Stark that you see in the whole MCU is him holding a glass of alcohol in the tank.
Yeah.
In Iron Man 1 when he's first going, yeah.
Yeah, and then the last time you see him doing anything is clicking his fingers to get rid of Thanos. So it's kind of...
That is true.
Yeah.
That
So he went from alcohol, power, to power. Nothing changed much.
and that his death was something that was like, I wasn't expecting it.
The second time I saw it actually hit me even harder. Because he was my favorite character in the MCU.
I could tell it was hitting you hard.
Yeah.
All right,
I could tell. I was like, this
time it was
guy's
like-
feeling it.
This time it was hard. Obviously, he's the heart of this MCU, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it starts off with him. And
So with him not being there, I think it's definitely different going forward.
Oh well.
Oh man, his reunion with Peter Parker, like on the field, and then later on, Peter's like, "We won, we did it," and he's just,
I think,
it's so heartbreaking.
and just to call back to the first Avengers, I think this is like something they called back to in this. The first Avengers, Captain America says, "You're not the person to lay your life on the line.
like, put your body on.
You wouldn't you wouldn't lay down on the wire to let everyone go through." And then Tony Stark says, "I'll just cut the wire." So at that point, he was still a guy that said, "I can fix every problem without kind of
exactly
putting myself to harm."
Yeah.
But when it came to the point where he had to do it, he did it. So,
Throughout that time, I guess at the start, he always thinks there's a easy,
There's an
smooth
out.
solution.
Yeah.
But this is like, it's not a smooth solution at all.
there's
Like,
no out. Yeah.
And as tragic as the decision he made was, I think it all comes down to that one moment when, in the end, Thanos has all the stones, everyone is almost defeated, he's about to snap his fingers. Tony looks at Strange, like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
What is there left to do? You said this was the one, right? This was the 1 out of 14 million. And Strange doesn't do anything. He just says, this is the one.
He just gives him the finger.
Just give him the finger.
guess what? This ain't it, bitch.
And he couldn't risk anything more than that, right? If he said anything more than that, it wouldn't have happened. But that's when Tony knew that everything up until this point was to keep him alive. Because he's the key. And if he's the key, he can't just sit around doing nothing. He's got to do something.
Well, he's the key for more than one reason. He makes the time travel.
Yeah.
And he also snaps his fingers.
Yeah.
So
So he really had to be there.
Another thing. So that whole time travel thing. So I think people believe in two things. So I'm not talking about time travel, like the theory behind it. But you know how he essentially makes that Mobius strip and figures out the so-called equation. Some people reckon it's after these guys come to his house and talk to him about time travel that he then tries to figure it out. But I reckon he's been trying to figure out this whole time.
Yeah.
And then these guys give him, they
An
tell him
idea.
about it, and then he uses that information, puts it together, and he's like, shit, now it
because
finally works.
It looks like he's too far through the.
Yeah, because he solves it in like a
solves
day.
it in like a day.
Yeah.
And
He was missing a key.
Yeah.
And
He was
that
missing
key
the
was
quantum
Ant-Man's.
realm.
The
Yeah.
Ant-Man's
Yeah.
solution.
You do see him say, Friday, can you run the simulations one last time?
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
feel like he's been running it for a while.
And his reaction is not the kind of person. It's
Yeah,
not
if
the
you
reaction
just started
you
it
have.
that morning, you wouldn't be that surprised, right?
His reaction's like shit.
It's like, damn, it took me 15 minutes to figure this out.
Fuck, I thought it would take 5.
Yeah, so it looks like he has been working on it for a while, but he just needed that quantum realm idea.
And his conversation with Pepper also is like, I figured it out, what time travel.
And
so
it looked like she kind of knew that.
she
he was trying
knew
to
that
think-
he was,
And it's an interesting callback to mathematical theory where, Mobius strip is the only simple shape that has one continuous side, no matter how you think about it.
It has exactly.
So you start at one
but
point.
it's a 3D shape.
It's a 3D shape. You start at one point, you draw a straight line, you end up exactly where you were. And I think him using that as a basis for quantum particle theory or string theory, if you do a lot of calculations on that, the shape of the universe is apparently something very similar to that kind of shape. So he says if he takes time to be a flat plane, run through it, you can come back to a point before your current position. So that's what I think this time travel theory is based around. It's like everything's a continuous loop until you decide to take a different track.
Time travel.
Well, and also the other thing about, I guess the whole time, Iron Man at some point knew that he'll have to snap, like as a backup option, because he's made his nanotech in a way that they can incorporate the Infinity Stones, right? Because you didn't see that formation on his hand, but when he goes and grabs the gauntlet and steals the Infinity Stones.
I think also his nanotech can form whatever he wants it to.
Yeah, but I feel like it took them so long to make a gauntlet, right? So,
True.
So like,
he probably pre-programmed.
it's probably a
it,
bit more than, which I don't know. I mean, you could say that there's a bit of a direction fault there to say that it took you this long to make the thing that Hulk wore. How does this guy just?
But to be honest, it did take them that long to make it. It took them because.
Well, I don't think it works the same way as the gauntlet in Infinity War, because it depends on strong Thanos is.
Yeah.
But Thanos clicks his fingers and he isn't impacted anywhere as much as Hulk is. So like it goes up all the way up to his neck and like his face is all burnt and stuff.
Well, no, he is. At the end of Infinity War,
That's what-
there is a burn that goes all the way up.
But not all the way. Like he's not that impacted because you see him at the
it's
end.
on his face.
No, not at the end of Infinity War.
At the Infinity War, it doesn't get to that.
Yeah, it doesn't get.
It gets up to his
yeah.
neck.
Well, he does it the second time, because Thanos is stronger than Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it. Yeah.
But I also think the gauntlet that Tony makes isn't as strong as the
other one.
the dwarf one.
But I guess the gauntlet also allows you to harness like each stone separately or like use the powers. And I don't know. I mean, it's like, you're going into real semantics here, but can Tony's incorporated suit glove thing do that? Maybe not.
Oh, fuck, he did it.
No, but he used the culminative power of the stones and changes, existence.
Yeah.
But can he we
Can
don't
he
know.
use what? No, he can't. No.
But could the other glove? Maybe not even that glove.
No, probably not. It's probably not made
because
for
it's
that.
Nidavellia, whatever.
Well, the thing is, they probably didn't make it to do that because they're like, why do we need it to do that?
That's true.
Like Thanos uses the other glove to do shit with the individual time.
Oh yeah, he uses the shit.
Yeah.
No, he takes the stone off and takes it into his other hand.
No,
and then he uses
that's
it.
when he fights Captain Marvel. But throughout in Infinity War,
Oh yeah,
Infinity War,
No, the Infinity War glove is superior to the
Tony Stark,
Endgame glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I guess in that, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that there is some merit to the aspect that the nanotech suit doesn't necessarily just adapt as is. You've got to have some pre-planning.
Yeah, I reckon there's... Well,
Yeah.
saying that, he recorded that message beforehand as well, so he kind of knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, I think
Kind of new. And there was that one mechanism where on the field, he modified his suit to take in Thor's lightning power and channel it directly through his arc reactor.
which is a reference to
To
the first
Avengers
Avengers
1.
Yeah.
When he realized, this shit's actually powering me up. Now he's actually built something to actually absorb that energy, which is like a purposeful decision. That was cool.
And they kind of also make fun of that when they go back to 2012 and they take the thing out of Iron Man's chest. And then Thor's like, I didn't know this will work. Like, he hits hammer on it. It's like, I don't think that would work.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
He essentially defibrillates him.
So before we finish up on...
We've got one last character.
Well, before we finish up on Iron Man, you had a theory about Iron Man. About his potential...
Look, it's not my theory. I read it online, but you don't know about this yet. Like, at the end of the movie, there isn't an end credit scene, but it does fade to black, and you hear the sound of a hammer hitting metal, and apparently it's the same sound that is in the first Iron Man movie where Tony Stark's making his helmet.
Mark 1.
Mark 1.
Yeah,
Yes.
in the cave.
In the cave.
Mark 1 iron suit.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's the sound of him hitting the metal basically with the hammer.
Shit, where was this? Like right as the credits roll.
No, right at the end.
Right at the end.
Right at the end. When you're waiting for that post-credits trailer, there's nothing that happens, but there's just a clanging sound. That's why I was doing this.
Oh yeah, no, I did hear something like that when we were watching it for the first time around. I didn't know what it was.
That's
Yeah. So that is the end credit scene. I use my hands to make bunny ears.
Okay. So what's this?
also known as quotation marks. Bunny ears.
Bunny ears, yeah.
Honey. So what's your theory behind that?
It's not my theory once again. I don't think this is going to happen. But the theory is that before Iron Man died, he moved his consciousness into a computer of some sort, kind of like Arnim Zola does in The Winter Soldier.
Or essentially Jarvis's eyes as himself.
Jarvis is himself.
Yeah.
And in the comics, there is precedent for this in terms of he does make himself into a holographic form and then he uses the Iron Man suit as a hologram, which is possible. Or it could just be like a Jarvis, or he could just be dead.
Or
I
it could
think
just
he's
be a digital
dead.
consciousness. That makes sense.
Yeah, it could just be digital consciousness. I don't think that's what's happened, but I think it leaves the door open to kind of say, oh, maybe he can come back.
Or I was the first time when I heard it, because like when you hear that, you always think of like hammers and stuff. So I was like, are we thinking of like, I mean, obviously I'm a fan
You
of
think
Thor.
of Thor, yeah.
Thor, and I was thinking if something's going on there.
But it's definitely the sound from Iron Man 1.
It seems like it.
That's interesting. I did
And
not.
technically,
yeah.
I mean, that could just be the ultimate conclusion, right? Because in that's when he's making the Iron Man suit, which is like the whole thing about the first MCU movie. Are they just concluding it with the first,
Yeah,
they're concluding
just be, concluding.
just a
it.
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might just be a reference.
The ultimate reference to the creation of this world and these 22 movies.
But also they could use it as like I think it's just a reference, but they could be hinting towards him coming back maybe.
Got to ask Jon Favreau. See what he thinks.
I just want some cheeseburgers, man.
Director of Iron Man to that
Making
one. Yeah.
he thinks Robert Downey Jr. should play Scar
Scar.
in Lion King.
What?
Oh really?
Really?
No. It's because Jon Favreau's directing Lion King.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think Lion King's going to be good, but anyway.
All right, we're left with one.
Cap. We should
Captain
have ended with
America.
Iron Man, but you know.
Yeah. Oh, we kind of.
Well, the
started
movie
talking
ended
about
with
it.
Iron Man, so.
Well, no, the movie ends with Cap actually.
Yeah.
Actually, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Cap's storyline's a lot more happy.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
Yeah, it is happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good conclusion.
The man that does. I think he's the one character in the MCU that doesn't change throughout his whole time because he's perfect to begin with. He never changes.
He's a good soul.
He's perfect to begin with, and also he's never won. He's never gotten a happy family. He's stuck in the future all the time, and he keeps lamenting on the fact that he never took that chance to have that life.
Last Dance with.
Last Dance.
Yeah.
As the authority on waiting too long. Don't like every single movie. There's a reference where he's got that regret, and I think as a result he keeps going on. But it was really good to see him finally have a
finally be happy.
That's
be
true.
happy,
And
yeah.
also, right, in the first few movies, he's actually like, in the first Avengers movie, Captain America is like a huge underdog. Like, when that ship goes down, Iron Man's like doing everything, and all that he can do is jump from like a fan to another fan and just take out some people. Like, he's an underdog, and when Thor comes in, like these people are gods. Like, he's definitely the underdog at the start. So like, he's kind of like someone you root for, and then finally, like, he becomes this absolute beast of a dude. But like, he's still very humble and everything. So very fitting, I think.
And I think he's one of the few main characters you see in a movie that doesn't change. And he's always sticks by his guns, stays true to what he is.
Because he can do this all day.
He
Very
knows.
good.
He knows. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He's a man of firm principles. Stick your foot in the ground, tell the other person to move, and not that kind of stuff. Like
He's pretty old school.
It's old school, but it's like, obviously
like
there are
proper
values that hold through time, and
Exactly.
that's the point.
And the thing is, he says in this movie, he says he met the love of his life, and then he went into ice for 70 years.
And you have to just move on.
Yeah.
You have to roll with the
he
punches.
He takes it quite well when the snap happens. He's probably one of the better ones to take it.
Relatively well. I think he's still kind of.
He's pissed off. He's pissed off.
But the thing is, he says the love of his life. So Peggy's still the love of his life even after many, many years. So that's why he goes back.
Well, it's certainly not Sharon Carter, that bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what happened to Sharon?
I don't know.
Did he ever get it on with her?
Wait, Sharon's actually his. Let's not talk about this. Is some Game of Thrones. This is some Jon Snow Daenerys shit, isn't it?
happening.
Did he ever get it on with Sharon?
He kissed her.
Okay.
Sharon's his niece. Blood-wise.
Yeah, technically she is.
Technically, yeah. Well,
Nice.
Well, not even technically she is.
Nice.
yeah.
If you believe that's if he's still in the same timeline and he's the one that married Peggy, and therefore had kids and blah blah blah. So. Shit! Time travel.
No, I still think he's safe. I'll tell you why later.
Safe meaning like he doesn't have an STD or something.
He took protection.
That the grand, you say the uncle Steve Rogers was still in that timeline as an old man because it would have been 2012ish, 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Cap that basically started flirting with Sharon was the Ice Cap, so it's like the young version. He never knew that Peggy was.
They always. Well, basically, if we say Cap goes into the ice and then he goes back to that point, and that's where he comes back in time travel, then there's always going to be two Captain Americas. There's going to be one in the ice,
and one outside.
One that's outside.
Once
that one comes out of the ice, he probably goes underground so that he doesn't mess with anything.
I think he's in hiding the whole time, regardless. Even when Cap's in ice, this Captain America is still hiding with Peggy, just having a normal life.
Probably not doing all that much.
Yeah.
And once that Captain America comes out of the ice, he still does all the same things that he would have, and they're living in the same timeline, basically. And then that Captain America goes back in time and becomes the old Captain America and lives bilaterally to the other one. So it's a loop again.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
it keeps happening.
Yeah, but now that Cap's gone back in time, now this Cap's still there. So then there's one Captain America.
Yes.
As you get to the final scene,
at the
there's
end,
one.
There's only one. So it's a loop until that point, and then it goes linearly.
But technically, it's a different Captain America, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a different Cap.
It's Falcon, isn't it? Captain Falcon.
Oh, dude. We are going to Nintendo territory.
Jeez, we've been referencing a lot of random shit in this podcast.
So the reference to Falcon becoming Captain America. So
You're going to tell the story.
yeah, I'll tell the story. We've got to tell the story. So we watched this movie with a group of people. Some have seen all the MCU movies, like all of us in this room, and some haven't. There was a certain person that hadn't, and she was confused as to why the old Captain America gives the shield to the black guy. It's like, why is it giving the shield?
Who said this? Who said this?
We'll tell you on podcast.
What? Why are they listening to this podcast?
There might be.
They probably know who they are. But yeah, I don't think she meant it in a racist way. I think she just was.
I think she just didn't know who the character was.
I think she's still living in the same era Captain America is.
But basically in the comics, there's two. After Captain America either retires or dies, either Bucky or in the latest version of the comics, Falcon becomes Captain America. So
It's an alternate where Peggy becomes Captain America as well.
I think that's just that's.
So what if, I think.
Steve Rogers doesn't become Captain America then, though.
No.
It's an alternate.
Yeah, that's an alternate.
It's an alternate.
But in terms of passing on the mantle, it's either Bucky or Falcon. I talked to Kireeti about this. I felt that if they pass it on to Bucky, it's just another white bloke with a superhero serum in him, super soldier serum in him. It's basically just Steve Rogers, except with long hair.
Yeah.
But if you pass it on to Falcon, it's something different.
Yeah,
and they can
exactly.
do something else with it.
And I think Falcon is more, in terms of his values, I think he's closer to Steve Rogers than Bucky.
Yeah, they're both war veterans.
Yeah. I mean, Bucky's as well.
But the wrong side of the war.
Yeah, by veteran. He's a veteran at fucking taking out innocent people.
He's veteran for Russian affairs.
Like Steve really wanted to fight in the war, and I feel like what's his actual name? What's Falcon's actual name?
Sam
Wilson.
Sam Wilson.
Yeah, Sam Wilson. I think he's similar. Whereas Bucky was just a guy that was, he had everything that needed for the war, so he was just
initially, and
just in the war. Like I don't think he really had a choice. Whereas Steve Rogers did, and he wanted to go to the war.
Yeah,
that's true. And like Falcon, I mean, he sticks with Steve Rogers the whole time. He's like his sidekick, and he holds true in all these movies. So it makes sense. But obviously, it's not going to be, the combat's not going to be even close to the same level. Yeah. This guy doesn't have this serum.
He could like fly and do some different stuff with it. I think they can do some.
Yeah, it'll be different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're doing a TV show.
But is he worthy for the hammer?
No, probably not.
Just give him a normal hammer. Just beat the shit out of him.
Like one from Bunnings.
Yeah, he gets real violent. It turns into a horror film.
Comes Halloween.
Friday the 13th, Captain America.
He just chucks the shield and then chucks a normal hammer at the shield.
The boys just fall to the ground.
It just makes a clang. It's like, what was that supposed to do?
The question is, I got 2 questions actually. Now that you bring up the shield, so did the shield get completely like wasted?
So that's he went back in time and then got the shield again from Howard Stark.
That's right, because when he did go back in time, he only had the hammer. He didn't have the shield.
Yeah.
Well, no, and yeah, but also like you figured out the fact that you can make a shield. You can make the shield.
It's out of vibranium.
Yeah, it's vibranium, but like, I mean, why can't he go to Wakanda?
He's mates with Black Panther now.
Yeah, but Black Panther wasn't alive when he went back there. Well, he was, but
vibranium was there.
Yeah.
No, but he could have gone to Wakanda and be like, "Hey guys, I'm from the future. I know you guys."
Because T'Challa's dad doesn't know.
Yeah. But
True.
I think it's the same shield.
Yeah.
It's the same shield. He just went back in time and got it.
And the other question was Bucky. He seems to know what's going on. He's like, Sam, go talk to... So what was going on with that?
No, I think he knew. No, I think Bucky, Bucky knows. Bucky,
he knows because he says, I'm going to miss you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I picked up on the second time. He's like, I'm going to miss you, man. You can know. Because as soon as Steve Rogers goes in the past, he knows that he just wants to be there. Because they're kind of... So Bucky, even though he's kind of from the past, same realm, he's kind of lived out this fucked up life. So I don't think he has as much wanting to go back to that time. But he knows that Steve Rogers always has that little inkling of want to go back and live his life. So he knows it. And that's why he hugs him at the end. He's like, I'm going to miss you, man. So
what if Bucky met him in the past?
Ooh.
What? There's like while he was as a bad person.
While he was Winter Soldier.
That's unlikely.
That's a mind.
Because he was brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's unlikely.
I mean, very unlikely.
Yeah. But I think it's more likely
And that's why he wasn't expecting him to come out. When they do the countdown, it's Sam and the Hulk that are expecting him to come out. Bucky just turns around straight away and he looks.
Bucky turns around looking for benches. He's like, "Where the fuck's the bench?"
He's like, "I want to sleep. I'm sick of this fight. Has worn me out."
Bucky's actually homeless. He just looks for benches wherever he can.
Yeah, Wakanda. It's such a long way away from Wakanda. He lives in Wakanda.
So there's gonna be a TV show, Bucky and Sam.
That's not what it's called.
It's called
Bucky and Sam, Beavis and Butthead.
It's just their road trip from wherever they were to.
Dude, where's my car?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah. Falcon and Soldier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Who's producing it? Netflix.
Nah, Disney Plus.
Shit.
Of course it's
Disney Plus. They're doing this. They're doing the new Loki series apparently.
And
Natasha.
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
And then, but they're not doing Black Widow.
That's a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so they are.
Yeah, they are.
Disney is, yeah. So, wait, sorry, what were the other movies you said?
No, just the WandaVision.
Wanda and Vision.
Yeah. Wanda and Vision have their own series. Loki, when he disappears with the power with the space stone, he's going to have his own little series.
Are you serious?
Apparently so.
Is it when he disappears with the space stone?
That's an alternate timeline.
That's the ultimate timeline. Yeah.
It's going to be is Loki comes up because Loki's like 1,000 years old or whatever. So he comes up at different points in the past, like during World War II or during just random things that happened in the past.
Just stuff.
And just messes shit about.
But at that point, Loki's not a good guy.
No, like he just causes mischief, I guess.
He's just opportunistic. He's not actually
but
evil.
It's not actually going to be Tom Hiddleston as Loki. He's just going to do the voiceover. It's going to be a younger Loki.
Interesting.
How young? Because he doesn't
like teenage.
Okay.
Teenage, like 20s.
Because they don't age after at some point in time.
Yeah. Except for Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. But he's like, 50,000 years old or something.
Odin was born like that.
And Paul bloody Rudd. Have you seen his face from when he's like 18 years old? He looks exactly as it is now. It's just smoother skin.
He's secret Asgardian.
Dude, dude's been in the quantum realm for bloody 40 years.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll talk about the other Avengers in this movie in a second, but I just wanted to talk about, since Cap is gone and Tony's gone, who will be sort of the leader of the Avengers? We talked about this in our predictions, but now we have some clarity.
I guess. Do you think it's going to be Captain Marvel?
I actually don't think it's going to be Captain. I think she's going to be more of like the Thor character.
Yeah, now her jurisdiction's galactic, so I don't think she's going to be focused on the Earth. It's an interesting conversation.
So the contenders are Black Panther, Spider-Man, a dark horse is Hawkeye, because he's still around and he's got experience.
There's actually a Hawkeye TV series as well. I forgot to mention that one.
Shit.
So there's a Hawkeye TV series where he's passing on the mantle to his daughter. So probably not Hawkeye.
Probably not Hawkeye. And the other one is Doctor Strange.
Ooh, actually, yeah, I reckon Strange is a good candidate.
And also another dark horse is Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
She's still around.
Ant-Man.
Imagine a team like that, man.
Hey, if he takes up
He'd be a
leadership position.
funny motherfucker.
Time travel. Should be the Hulk.
Actually, is Hulk out of the question?
Yeah, it should be the Hulk. Yeah.
He's not out of the question.
Yeah.
Is Bruce Banner Hulk? He could do some shit.
That's true.
I feel it might be. It's not going to be a traditional leadership. It'll be like maybe a committee.
It'll be like the Essendon Football Club leadership group. So there'll be a couple of them. But they're always shit. None of them are good at it.
Who's the Dyson Heppel?
Who's the Dyson Heppel? Probably Doctor Strange. Or Black Panther.
I don't think it'll be Spider-Man yet, but I think in the future it might.
Spider-Man's too young.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him take a more active part in being an Avenger, like call to action.
Rather than be like
The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
recruited. Oh my God.
He's going to keep introducing himself and saying, "Hey, Ed. Hey there. I'm Peter Parker."
And I don't think it'll be Sam Wilson, even though he's Captain America.
I think you could take out all the guys in the TV shows, probably. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll talk about Ant-Man, because he's a big part of this movie.
He's great.
So the real MVP of the movie is the rat that lets him out.
I swear to God. Strange must have been
honestly, I reckon that's what Strange is doing that whole time.
like this can't be the one. It's a fucking... Okay, no, this is the timeline. It's just
He was magicking a rat about 5 years into the future to just get to that van. Peter Pettigrew.
Peter Pettigrew. That's how desperate...
Secret MVP. Yeah.
So I'm going to watch Infinity War and find the what the fuck moment during Strange's like 14 million timeline trouble. It's like, really? Rat? Okay, fine. Seriously, there's no other timeline that can help us? And that's it. They know that their hopes rely on a rat.
So we'll probably see more of Ant-Man.
He was good in this movie.
He was
punched,
good, yeah.
He punched those worm things out of the sky.
Yeah, he did. He pulled a Hulk.
And then
he did what Hulk did.
And then he fucking stepped on one of Thanos' children and killed him.
He was huge. I think he wasn't this big before. Even in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Largest.
This is the largest he's gone.
Largest he's got. Did we talk about how he's fascinated by Thor's storytelling?
Oh, yeah, we did.
All the time. Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
He's so good.
It's so amazing.
He's so mesmerized by it.
He's in the two best scenes in this movie. The taco scene. Actually, three best scenes. Taco scene, time travel scene, and the Thor scene.
I'm so glad he was in this movie. It's just he was the character that everyone can relate to on a mortal basis. That he's just the dude.
And it's always him and food, huh? Peanut butter sandwich, taco.
This guy's like starving himself.
And that part
And
when
the
he-
selfie scene.
Yeah.
And also with
Just take the goddamn phone.
Captain America's ass. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
He's so good. He's like,
I like how he just loves Captain America so much. He keeps calling him Captain America.
apparently he was a writer. So he was a writer for some of the lines and stuff.
I think he
I think
probably
he just
reprised his lines.
think he
Yeah.
just-
No, but like
Improv
he's
stuff.
legitimately, he's listed as writer. According to one of the, so you know, like the cast does all these interviews. In one of the interviews is like, what was it like to be a writer on this movie, I think. So I think he might have been a writer. Yeah. Or are they referencing the fact that he's a writer for other movies? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty
He's a
sure.
writer for Thor, right? He's a writer for Ant-Man.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was just Ant-Man.
Oh, I bet you he wrote this line. There's a beautiful moment when, I forgot which movie it was, but Ant-Man calls Captain America Cap, and Hope gives him like shit for it.
And then
Hope in this one,
Hope calls him Cap.
Hope calls him Cap and
yeah.
smiles at Ant-Man, and he's like, "Oh no way!"
Massive plot hole. Once everyone comes through the holes, somehow everyone can hear each other.
Yeah, I know. That's always a plot hole in this movie.
Yeah.
They all seem to have earpieces.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or it could just be an easy spell that Strangers does if everyone can hear each other apart from the enemy.
But it would get to a point where, like, you're hearing too much.
Yeah.
Like, you're just hearing everyone.
Yeah, Ravagers, can you just shut up for a second, please? Stop talking to each other. Howard, shut up. Like,
And like one of the enemies just grabs the mic, starts telling them stupid shit. So like,
Before we finish up on Ant-Man, he actually does have some emotional depth in this movie as well when he meets his daughter and...
Who you guys still think's too old.
I think she's too old.
She's too old. But I think she's about 17 years old.
because in Ant-Man and the Wasp, how old was she?
I reckon she's about 12 in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
and the Wasp.
12?
No,
I reckon.
oldest
Because in his
13.
first movie,
Oldest
she was
13,
tiny.
yeah.
She's
Yeah,
like
she
a
was
little.
tiny, yeah.
No, but in the first movie, she's small.
She's
but
like,
still
what,
at school.
6?
She's still at school.
Yeah, 6 or 7. And then how much?
I would say 8.
So you reckon then she gets to how old?
To 12.
in
4 years later.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Pushing it.
No. Are you saying she's 12 in Endgame?
No, 12 in Ant-Man.
I'm like, she doesn't look 12, man.
No, she's actually 8 in Endgame, man. Time travel.
Was it the same actress?
No.
Wasn't the same actress.
No, man. Or else they wouldn't be that question.
Yeah, that's 5 years later.
If
Yeah.
she aged that much in a year, she's on some kind of growth hormone.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I thought was really good? The fact, I mean, most movies don't reference this, but they're talking about timelines just when the movie gets released. That's the year that it actually is in their universe.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
That's pretty cool.
That just shows the power of these guys being able to get out movies on time as they want it. Like, holy shit.
They planned that. Or even they just at least scripted it in. But in my mind, yeah, what was that man's daughter's name? Cassie, yeah.
I reckon she's 17-ish.
Okay. And was she just living by herself for like 5 years?
I don't know, maybe her parents are alive. Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, well, you know how he has like that, she has that stepdad that he doesn't like?
No, but he likes him in the second
They get
movie.
along in
They
the-
get
yeah.
along in the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, Brett, 5 years. He's decided not to like him anymore.
He's just beating his daughter.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I got dark, I'm sorry.
Ant-Man, Dark World.
Beating his daughter at video games. There we go. Just fixed it. There
That's
you go.
what that's what
That's what you meant.
to
He's
say.
beating his daughter after the video game. beating his daughter is the video game. Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's getting darker. It's getting darker.
This is not just time travel. This is
Talking
like
about-
moving to the dark world.
Talking about the Dark World. So
Thor Dark World, yeah.
Thor brings it up in his story. He's like, thousands of years ago, my grandfather took the ether from the Dark Elves. Scary.
I feel like that was purposefully done because the Dark World is like the black sheep of the universe. It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
everyone kind of hates it, so he's just trying to tell it again.
In our spoiler-free review, we were saying that this movie retroactively makes all the other movies better as well. Because Thor goes back to the Dark World in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and even some of the weaker films, they seem a lot better now because of this movie. The final battle scene, I don't know if you guys probably picked up on it, but there's this like little girl power thing. Did you notice?
Yeah, all the female characters were like
yeah.
ganging up on Thanos. Yeah.
If you don't pick it up, then you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because it's very obvious.
It's like
and
10
thrown
women
in your
that come in.
face.
10 women just ganging up on one dude.
And they had that same theme in Infinity War that I think we did discuss at some point when Scarlet Witch gets kind of owned by that other girl. Then
You used it correctly
Okoye-
this time.
And then the
the actual Scarlet Witch, not Red Sparrow.
And then the other Scarlet Witch turns up.
Scarlett Johansson rocks up and Okoye.
But this is on a much larger scale.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Where basically everyone's there
Everyone.
except Scarlet Witch. No, dude.
But that was pretty. But that was pretty good. Like, I didn't feel like they went out of its way to do anything. It's fair enough.
It was good. That was just a nice thing.
I enjoyed it. It was fine.
Yeah.
On that
And also,
note, yeah.
I enjoyed this. Like, getting the gauntlet to the time machine was bloody good to follow. Like, I thought the right characters picked it up at the right time. Like, Clint had it the whole time. Man, I was hoping he was just going to wear it and do something. Because I was like, bro, if this guy saw...
But you would think if he put it on, he probably would have died immediately.
He's gonna die.
That's if you click. He doesn't need to click with it. Just
No, because even putting it on, you kind of get.
Oh,
that
yeah, you
idea.
do, don't you?
Yeah.
But just take one off and put the rest on. Right?
Give one to Thanos.
You can, let's make it even. Come on.
You take one. The Soul Stone. No one knows what it does.
Just try see what happens. Oh my gosh.
It's like they give him the Soul Stone and then he looks into what he did and he's like, he just gets cut up about Gamora, starts crying. He's like, damn, we got him, boys.
And that's also very clever. The part when they were throwing the gauntlet around, literal idiom of running the gauntlet, which is when one person has an idea and everyone else tries to attack him. So that's like that was a physical.
And Black Panther, like the cultural reference of like Black Panther, NFL, like this guy's running it like he's fucking playing
He's
NFL.
like a running back. Yeah.
He's just pulling all those moves and he uses his suit. So like no one's abilities are ignored in this. Like he uses the vibranium suit, he uses that mechanism that absorbs the power, dishes it out again.
Yeah.
Then gives it to Spider-Man, gets on Valkyrie. It's sick. Like it's
Instant
great.
kill. Finally,
Yeah,
uses
instant kill.
Instant kill mode. I was waiting for that. Jeez.
But even that's like no, he nearly gets overrun.
yeah, it gets
but
kind of
that's
burnt
great.
out.
The funny
towards the
thing
end,
is, he's not doing anything. It's just these
Yeah,
things.
it's just the arms.
He's just holding onto this gauntlet. He's like, oh shit.
And then Captain Marvel makes her entrance.
I think her entrance could have been like the Thor Infinity War moment. It wasn't that good. It was okay.
Oh no, I think that the Thor Infinity War moment for this film was
the
Captain
hammer?
wielding Mjolnir. That was by far, I think that's just a call to arms there. That was incredible.
But also when those three, when Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor walk out, and then Thor also powers up, but like, you know, they're ready. That's dope as well. Because it's like the three big hitters on their team go out. And it's also a bit weird because it's a bit menacing. Like, Thanos is just like sitting there and just doesn't give a flying fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, he just looks at it and is like,
And he like slowly gets up, puts the helmet on.
Wields his helicopter blades and then just does crazy damage. Look, he's actually a crazy, crazy good fighter.
yeah, that's another
And I think
huge thing about this movie.
We haven't seen Thanos step it up to this level.
And also, we haven't seen Thanos without an Infinity Stone. The fact that this guy has beaten the shit out of these guys.
I think.
My God.
We haven't seen Thanos try to kill people yet. In this movie, he's trying to kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we need to talk about Thanos, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, in this movie, this Thanos is different to the Infinity War Thanos, which is really interesting. I think it's a really good plot point in that the reason you need to really destroy this Thanos is because this Thanos doesn't believe in that previous idea of mercilessly killing everyone. He wants to like destroy everything and recreate the world so that they don't know about the destruction, right? Yeah. Like this, and he's like, I will enjoy destroying your planet. Like this, he thinks that because that initial ideal hasn't worked, he has no choice but to go on this violent rampage. Like he is bloodthirsty, and therefore it makes sense that you got to beat the shit out of him, you know?
There's only a few other franchises that have touched on like full scale wipeout. And it's only been in like video game franchises like Halo or Mass Effect, where the prospect of like in all life being wiped out being the prerogative of the antagonist. Once that gets to this level, you just know this is it's a completely different Thanos. Once he knows that, these guys just didn't even accept their fate. So I have to wipe out everyone, make sure they remember that they're like they're nothing, so that they're grateful. And it's just this holy shit, that's extreme. And you can see that the way he fights. But that for me, the whole Cap wielding Mjolnir moment, I knew that it was, you don't see it. You just see the hammer being lifted, Thanos getting smashed with it, and it coming back goes right into Cap's hands. And then Thor's reaction is the best. He's just like, I knew it! It's amazing.
It's funny. After that point, there's this point where Cap like owns Thanos for a bit, but then Thanos knocks his hammer away and it falls down again.
Yeah.
Some guy behind me in the theater was like, time for Iron Man now.
It's like, whoa, man, you're expecting a lot from these guys.
Expecting a lot.
Because Iron Man was pretty much knocked out at that stage, and Thor was, knocked out as well. Cap's on his last legs. I thought Cap was actually going to die at that stage.
I thought it was getting to some real horrible, gruesome death for Cap because he was getting knocked apart.
His shield was getting like basically pummeled and almost to a fine dust. It was like there's another throwback to Age of Ultron. You know that scene where Tony sees all the Avengers dead in his mind. The way that Captain America's shield is broken is suspiciously similar to the way his shield's broken in this one.
And I think but that's the point, right? He gets that vision, and that's whatever that vision is supposed to cause. It causes something else or whatever. But I think that is kind of a reference to the end of the Avengers. Infinity War, whatever it is.
He says it at the start of the movie.
Yeah, I had this vision, and I wanted to do this.
And in Ultron, he says that's the end game.
Yeah.
In Ultron, he uses those exact words.
Yeah. So. And actually, I think Ultron is probably the movie where we do really start seeing it moving towards here. And the comic book readers know that, okay, now they're definitely going in this direction. And then everyone else kind of picks up on this. There's a much bigger thing going on. Yeah. Like, obviously, Loki did all this crap, and then in Dark World, there's a reference to all this crap. But
the part that everyone hates in that movie, where Thor,
the Infinity Stone parts,
where Thor goes and jumps in the pond and thinks about the Infinity Stones.
It is a bit of a weird scene. It's
I know. Yeah, I don't think anyone gets what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then Thor he kind of creates vision, but doesn't. Like, he uses electricity to kind of...
Yeah, because he sees that in the Mind Stone there was the hope. That was not just to save them from Ultron, but from a more bigger threat. So, like, Thor's being this kind of thing where it's like, there's something after this.
But what the fuck did Vision do?
He lifted Mjolnir.
He died.
Yeah, so? Yeah, but, like, did it help anyone? I guess, technically, if you didn't have Vision in that circumstance, then that's the way that Thanos needs to get it to click for then all this to happen. I mean, if you're thinking real long term, I guess, sure.
There's one more character I want to talk about, and then we can talk about time travel.
Yeah. That's honestly the biggest discussion that we're going to have already.
Scarlet Witch.
Oh,
Can we talk about Scarlet Witch?
we can talk about Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking of?
I was
Scarlett
thinking of
Scarlett Johansson.
I was thinking of Nebula, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nebula.
Let's talk
Nebula.
about Nebula first.
Nebula's good.
Nebula's great in this movie.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, some proper shit, huh? With Nebula.
Yeah.
Just the first scene itself, literally the first scene. Oh, not with Hawkeye, but the scene after.
With Einstein, when they're playing the
Yeah,
game.
they're playing. This is so trivial. She's lost every major battle in her life, and it's the first time she's ever won something.
And she doesn't know how to react.
And it doesn't even. It's just so sweet. It's just like, oh, it was fun.
Do you know what I feel bad for her about? Thanos was just about to give her first compliment, and then Thor cuts off his head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's how she's
Like
sad.
first
So
compliment in her life.
could you have waited like 2 seconds? Me and you were saying that we don't know why Thanos actually likes Gamora more than Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula's so much better
Nebula's-
than Gamora.
Like,
Well,
she's,
More loyal.
she's actually loyal to Thanos, whereas Gamora.
Yeah, but I think Gamora hides it from Thanos really well.
Yeah.
Firstly, but also Gamora doesn't really fail as much as Nebula does. Gamora was saved. I think Gamora is. We don't know about Nebula's like origin story and how Thanos found her, but I think it's to do with how Thanos found Gamora, and therefore that connection as a child, and he kind of raised her, even though secretly, like in this movie, Gamora still does not like Thanos, and she's already covered up the Soul Stone story. She knows about the Soul Stone. She knows it's on Boromir. But like,
You simply just don't walk into Volomir.
yeah, one does not simply.
it's funny when she's like, they're explaining each of the stories, and she has to explain the Soul Stone, and she says something like really dark, and everyone's just like, okay.
And then
Ant-Man's like, not it.
Yeah.
And he feels guilty, but kind of not guilty about it.
I think her and Tony have like a bond that they kind of make on those 22 days as well.
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, like, it seems like she's become a bit more humanized after that journey.
My question to you the other day was, did she knew about the Soul Stone, like how it works? Did she know
I don't
that?
think so. No.
Yeah. So she just
All
knew
she
that
knows-
She knew that Thanos took Gamora to the world and then
came back with
without
that.
her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because
She doesn't know that death is connected to the Soul Stone.
No.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's
If
pretty dog.
She knew all along, and she just sends those two to Volomir.
it's pretty dog.
Yeah. We can quickly talk about Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, she's bloody badass.
She's in one scene. Well,
One
she's in a
scene,
couple
but
of
she
scenes,
would
yeah.
have killed Thanos.
She would have actually killed Thanos.
Yeah.
Her rage is palpable in this, like
I think-
actual rage. It's really strong.
You got to say she's probably the most powerful character in the MCU, I would say.
Well, I don't know if she would have killed Thanos, but she
think she
definitely incapacitated him and was torturing him.
I think she also caught him by surprise as well, because he's like, who the hell is this person?
But then she got him to a point where he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like he was literally going to die.
Like at the beginning of that, is like, I don't even know who you are, and then like 30 seconds later, it's like, just fire everything. It's like,
yeah, that's true.
Sir,
He takes out half his
we'll
arm.
lose our own troops. Just do it.
The other thing, before we finish up with all the characters, Nebula, in the comics, she's the one that actually gets the Infinity Gauntlet and snaps to unsnap everything.
Oh shit.
They didn't do that, obviously, but she's still a very important character.
She should have done it because she could just be rebuilt.
That's true.
Well, she's not completely cyborg, is she?
She's mostly cyborg.
More machine now than woman.
Yeah. What? They should have done it for Rhodey. She got Rhodey to do it and just
But he would have
plug his arm.
What, like ripped off his arm and then made it snap?
Well, he should have snapped it with his toes. Oh wait, you can't move your toes.
So the trick is you make someone a quadriplegic and then you make them snap.
Yep.
Get Winter
And then
Soldier
part
to
of
do it.
that wish is you stop becoming quadriplegic. So you solved all your issues. As part of that wish, you tell yourself not to be harmed by the gauntlet.
I was going to say something, but you guys...
You're about to say something logical, but I fucked you with the lack of logic.
Derailed this train.
War Machine and Nebula, they also have just a small exchange. But
Yeah, that's true.
I think War Machine's like, were you always like this? And
No,
like,
he doesn't say anything. He just looks at her.
yeah,
She's
it's like, oh no, I wasn't always like this.
And then he's
like,
like, you.
yeah,
live
neither
with
was
what-
I.
Yeah. No,
You
he
just
says
gotta
you
roll
do
with-
what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to mention before we go into...
Time travel.
Time travel.
If you guys are wondering what we're referencing with that, it's when Hulk says time travel.
But he says it with jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
After he turns Ant-Man into a baby and an old man and make him piss his pants and get back in time. Which is, in everyone else's eyes, is a failure, but he reckons it's a success. Because he only time travels inside the suit.
Time travel. Well, you can try and explain this, Kireeti.
I don't know. I mean, I think Hulk talks about the fact that when you do time travel in this movie, that it's a paradox and doesn't make sense because technically you go into the past, but because you were going forward in time, it's forward in time for you. Therefore, it doesn't make sense. The past is now your future and your future is now your past. So therefore, time travel cannot make sense. It's a paradox. But it doesn't solve the fact that they go back in time and they take these stones, etc. And like there is some, I mean, you can argue that you're going back and you want to not mess with anything so that it doesn't screw up the future. But at the same time, these are like, it seems like every time you go into a different timeline, that's actually like a different, every time you go back in time, it seems like that's a different universe. So I don't know how you interpret time travel in this, but no matter what, I think you can poke a lot of holes in it. Well, not a lot. There are some holes you can poke in it, but it does. I don't think it takes away from the storyline. I don't think it takes away from how epic this movie is. But I don't know what the lore is. Are we thinking that? So, I mean, time travel first comes up because Ant-Man goes into the quantum realm and his time goes differently there. He's like 5 hours in there, comes out, thinks it's only been 5 hours, realizes it's been 5 years, and therefore realizes that every time you go into the quantum realm, there may be a way to manipulate where you are in time. So, but according to that theory, you should only be able to travel in your timeline, right? You shouldn't be able to access a different timeline. So if that is the case, then every time they make a change somewhere in the past, then technically you're sprawling off in a whole new timeline, like an alternate reality or whatever it is. So if we are to believe that every time they go back in time, everything's fine because they get the stones, everything's cool. But the fact that Thanos, like if you believe in that theory, the fact that Thanos gets, I don't know, time traveled by the past Nebula and they bring the whole of, like, I just realized they don't just bring fucking Thanos. They bring his whole ship and his whole fucking army. Like, this guy was prepared. He's such a badass. He brings the game. Like, he brings the whole fucking universe to fight them. I'm like, this bastard, he gets 5 minutes to prepare and he brings so many people with him. But the Thanos in the past comes to, you know, the big battle scene and, you know, lights up the Avengers headquarters, blah, blah, blah. Since they kill this Thanos or they stop him from existing, if this is a continuous timeline, technically the Thanos shouldn't have ever been able to click, right? Because that Thanos is continuous with this Thanos. So as soon as you go there, then you're talking about alternate timelines. And then if you do believe in alternate timelines, then you should really question whether you have to leave people dead.
Right. You're talking about the paradox thing where if you go back in time and kill your grandfather, you come back to yours, you fade out.
Yeah.
That's the Back to the Future consequential time travel shit, right?
Yeah.
Now in this one, I think you can still conserve the laws of every time you change something in the past or you alter something, you bring something from the past, it creates a slightly divergent thread.
Yeah. As the ancient one kind of alludes
yeah, it's like
to.
visually showed there was the thread. Yeah. You take away the time stone, that thread's going to be doomed to whatever happens to it. But if you restore whatever you changed around the same time, where there's very minute consequences, it should diverge back into the main thread. When Thanos traveled from the past, whatever the Guardians of the Galaxy timeline was, to the present, and he died in the future, that there will be a universe where Thanos left with his force, and that is not there anymore. Yeah. That thread is going to keep on going. I don't think that the Power Stone was... maybe if the Power Stone was returned to that time, everything's fine, Thanos is gone, it's a peaceful galaxy. But that will not... if that timeline will never join with the main one and then affect the Thanos in that main timeline where he snaps his fingers, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's split so
it's an alternate, so crazy.
Yeah. So it's in that sense of... when Scott Lang found out that, the more further you go into the quantum realm, you will access different dimensions of time. He found that it was dilating, so maybe you can travel different directions, maybe you can access different things. That I think it goes hand in hand with the multiverse theory, that there's an infinite broth of bubbles of slightly different configurations, and to access each one might just be changing something in time.
That makes sense. I agree. I think that's what we got to think
in
about.
that sense. And in a writing sense, I felt that they didn't want to write really strict rules into this time travel.
Because then you start getting...
The moment you do that, you get plot holes everywhere.
Yeah.
So they just wanted it like a loose interpretation. You can go back, you can hop from the past to even further past.
Yeah.
But you can eventually still come back to your base timeline without having any changes affected.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could go in the past, kill your grandfather, kill your mother, whatever, really dark shit.
Yo.
I come back to the present and nothing's changed. Like, your parents are still alive. It's just you've screwed up some timeline.
Well, what are you saying, Bhaskar?
I'm talking about the parent paradox from Back to the Future, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if we believe in this sort of stuff, then there is an argument. I mean, there's a technical argument that you can save everyone that died, right? But technically... And you can save them just before they die and therefore create a parallel universe, right? It doesn't affect your timeline because there's an alternate and therefore bring back people that should have died. So for example, like, Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, you got it.
Black Widow, I should really be calling it. I mean, I don't know if that Soul Stone belongs to that timeline, then does it still exist? I mean, if we're talking about alternates now, if you go and you save her, and you bring her back to reality before she jumps off, does that mean then the Soul Stone was never happened, even in your current timeline? Like it never was retrieved?
Oh no, because still, let's say when Cap went back to return the Soul Stone, he would have had a weird conversation with Red Skull firstly.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's talking.
He would have had
We're like, hey man, how you been doing?
Hey man, and it's like, this bitch, you sent me here. Fuck you. How about you guard this place?
Red Skull like, there are no flags here, Captain. It's like, yes there is. American flag. Runs off and he's like, I think he...
Where'd you coming up with this fan things? I like it.
Could you imagine if he gave back the Soul Stone right before Black Widow and Hawkeye were about to jump off? Gave it back, took Black Widow back with him, even if that was possible, and just left that universe to survive where the...
Left Hawkeye on Boromir by himself.
Left Hawkeye with Boromir.
That's an alternate. That's an alternate.
And that's the thing that when you take it out, that universe has to deal with the fact that she's not going to be in that universe. Then they're going to do something similar. They're going to try and throw back and get her from some other universe. They'll keep taking Scarlett Johansson's, leaving one universe without one.
I like that. I wish I could take Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, can you give me one Scarlett Johansson?
We have one Scarlett Witch only. So it's going to be like a domino effect.
So I guess you can make the argument that is possible. Then some people will be like, well, no, then they couldn't get... I mean, therefore, why don't you just go grab Vision? Like, grab all these people back from the past because you're creating alternate timelines. But then the Ancient One also says, will you be able to deal with the moral effect of that? Which is when you remove a Infinity Stone, you create like this parallel thing and it can lead to suffering. So then the Hulk is not prepared. So he's like, we promise to bring it back at this point in time, therefore balance the world.
That's if they succeeded. If they failed, they would have doomed all the timelines. So there's
But if you fail, who gives a fuck about everyone else?
Imagine Captain America just failed. He didn't get all the stones back.
Oh.
He's like, oh shit.
He returns to New York and it's gone. It's like done by Dormammu. Dormammu comes back and just...
Oops.
Okay, time to go back.
Peggy.
He would have had to go into space, obviously, to return all that stuff as well.
Yeah, he went.
And guess what? Captain America can't survive in space. He's dead. He's just like Black Widow.
Well, Black Widow went into space in this movie and she survived, so...
Well,
she went to space twice.
In a ship. Oh, no. Okay, you're on that planet.
Yeah.
But also, like... Yeah, so this is another... I mean, let's not get into this, but atmospheres and oxygen concentration on these atmospheres.
Everywhere has oxygen, man. Everywhere has oxygen.
It's like, Thanos, why did you choose the planet that has the same oxygen concentration as Earth? Because if you didn't, then you would have been fine, mate.
That's one of those little plot hole things.
Look, you can nitpick the movie to death, but don't, because it's good.
But I think, and like with the last scene, I think we're all kind of agreeing. I think Bhaskar was suggesting various things with Captain America, but what I don't know, at least what I got out of it was that Captain America goes back probably to the time in which he gets stuck in the ice, then goes and finds Peggy, has that last dance, and they do the hanky-panky and have a good time. And then he lives his life out, and then he comes out of hiding at this last second. So when they're making this time machine with Hulk, this old Captain America was just sneaking onto this bench, pretty much.
Yeah. Not just that, he would have been there the whole time.
You know what would have been really cool is if they actually had that in a scene, like they knew that this was it, and therefore, if you rewatch it, you see like this Captain America that just walking to the bench. That would have been sick.
Oh shit, is it?
No, I don't
doubt
think they
it.
would have planned it that well. And some fans would have caught onto it.
They
but-
could have if they did it.
But that's the theory, that Captain America that went back in time lived through all the events
Yeah.
of the past.
That he's already lived through.
80 years, but he's left it to the Cap and the Ice to take. So he's just said, this is my life, I'm taking care of it, I'm going to raise a family and do whatever.
So he's effectively like almost 200 years old.
Well, no, I mean, the other thing that you can say is that the reason that Captain America didn't age was because he was cryogenically preserved, as in he was frozen, therefore he didn't age. But now that he actually lives his life, he's only lived, maybe 90 years or something? Because he goes from... When does he... This is after the Second World War, right? This is like 46?
43, he was around that's when he enlisted.
When does he do this?
25 or something?
25. Okay, so then from 45 to... Oh, shit.
No, he would be older than 25.
So that's 80...
No,
is that 85 years?
In Civil War, he says they're both almost 100 years old, him and Bucky.
Okay, so but how long is it between World War...
So 45?
Ends at 45, and
45.
then it comes out in
75 years?
2012.
No, so this movie is now in 2019. So it's like 75 years. Nearly. 74 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Plus 25, there you go. That's
Yeah,
100
so
years
he's
old.
100 years old. He's
So
actually lived 100 years. Does he look like he's lived 100 years? He kind of looks pretty old.
He looks old, yeah.
Whether he's just aged and it hasn't affected
No,
him.
hold on. 75 years? In the ice? Are you counting the ice years?
No.
All right. So you're just going straight to when he woke up?
living, yeah.
Right, and then he goes back and then lives through that again. Yeah.
So it's more than 100 years because he lives a bit
I think
this time around.
Well, I think he's
I don't know.
slightly slower in aging, but it's not like incredibly slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got his hair. He still looks pretty deep. Yeah.
How does Bucky work? Because he wasn't in the ice for all
That's
that time.
true.
Bucky is Russian.
No, but he gets preserved. So every time you're not doing a mission, do you just get chucked in that tank?
Yeah, he gets chucked in the tank.
Oh shit! Yeah. In that facility.
To be honest, I mean, like, I don't really care about this. Like, I'm totally happy. I mean, I think that arc that they did at the end was very clever, very good. I thought it was very fitting for someone who finally, now that this big battle's over and he's put back the Infinity Stones, like, just do what you've always wanted to do, which is just lead that normal life.
My wish list for Captain America in this movie was him to pick up the hammer, which he does, and then him to have the dance with Peggy, which he also does.
And say Avengers Assemble.
And say Avengers.
Avengers Assemble.
Does he ever say that?
Yep.
So this is the first time he says it.
Do you remember in the
Ultron.
end of
Ultron.
Age of Ultron where he
Yeah.
says Avengers and then
And then
they
he
cut
cuts it, yeah.
So this
So he doesn't say it in the first one?
Never says it until this time.
And he doesn't say it at the start of Ultron
No.
when they're in the fight. No.
And it's all a callback to Fear itself when he has the moment with Mjolnir. That's the first time he holds Mjolnir. Avengers volume something like 67, Fear itself. That they've replicated the entire thing perfectly.
My only thing is, does that mean does the hammer have its own inherent like electricity? I guess it's got a bit in it.
Yeah.
So Odin's words were, the enchantment placed upon the hammer by Odin was, whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
And Thor is the god of thunder.
Yeah, so he possesses the power,
of Thor.
Yeah.
with the hammer.
He's not impenetrable like Thor.
He's not. He doesn't become Thor.
So yeah, that actually when he was wielding the lightning, I'm like, holy shit, he knows how to do this, and he's just toing with his shield and the hammer. I'm
I
like,
guess he's
that's
seen
crazy.
Thor do it before, so maybe he's like, let me try.
You just look at the sky and then
This whole time,
Didn't work.
this whole time, that time in Ultron, he knew he could actually lift it, but he's like, I actually don't know how to work this. So he's been like trying to figure it out this whole time.
Yeah, no, I think he was being coy. Actually, I felt like
studying
Ultron.
equations.
I felt like in Ultron, if he really wanted to, he could have lifted it.
But that's the greatest thing about like Captain America. Like he says, like, "Oh, no, I know when a battle is lost, or I know when to." So he's like very humble in that. He doesn't have anything to prove. He's like, "Oh, yeah, whatever."
yeah, watch that scene again, and you can just, yep, you know what? I'm not even going to bother trying.
Exactly.
I'm not going to prove anything.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Except
Yeah,
for-
I've got nothing
yeah.
to prove. Or
yep.
Yeah. In
That
the
was
comics,
amazing.
Black Widow actually picks it up as well.
Oh, come on.
She does. She does.
dude, she can't even breathe in space.
I believe you, but it's just like, there's so many other characters who need to lift, like Hulk, and there's like, if everyone lifts it, it doesn't become special anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, in the Age of Ultron scene, everyone tries to lift it
Except Black
Widow. She's
She's
like,
like,
that's not a point I need to prove.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe she could lift it. if she
Oh,
tried.
we haven't seen if she could. Oh, I see what you want. Yeah. Okay, maybe.
And Beta Ray Bill lifts it.
Oh, Beta Ray Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
He's the Beta Ray Bill is the is like his alternate version of Thor, and he's the one who wields Stormbreaker in the comics.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's in the MCU because in Ragnarok, you know that place where the Grandmaster lives? They have a sculpture of him on the side of the building.
Yeah, as one of the warriors.
As like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
That was huge.
So it's an alternate to Thor.
He looks like a goat.
He's Asgard. He's like
He's a goat. He's actually a goat.
He's like a goat that stands up.
no. He's got the head of a goat, but the body of a man.
Yeah.
And so what's that story? What's that comic story?
So Stormbreaker was made for him.
No, as
And
in
then-
like, why does this guy?
Oh, why does he
is there a
exist?
guy with the head of a goat as some alternate to
Fucking,
Thor.
I have no idea. I haven't read that.
What you don't you choose not to question this? You just accept it, and then you're like, yeah, bro, it's fine.
Dude, we're talking about a franchise where like a raccoon is fighting next to a growing tree. So.
A rabbit.
A rabbit.
I think we didn't mention that Thor's fat in this movie for the whole movie.
Yeah, he's fat. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit sunken.
Yeah.
The thing I wanted to mention is when they go back in time, the color palette changes as well. So when they go back to 2012, it looks like Avengers 2012.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the color palette of Avengers.
As in when Joss Whedon.
That's a very bright film.
Yep.
Avengers, the first Avengers.
Very, very contrast heavy.
Yeah.
So it's like all the greens, the reds, and the thing where like you can just
Is it?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of grayscale in the fighting, right? Like you know that battle that they have.
the New York.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like a Russo. It doesn't look like a Russo.
Sure. It's not as like black. There's not as many blacks in it, but it's very grayish. That there's no sun in that, is there?
No, there is. Yeah.
There is, but all the Russo ones have like a kind of yellow or purple haze kind of right to it.
Yeah.
And it's like their signature lighting.
I think one of the best things about Infinity War and even this is that lighting and the planet that they're on when they go to Volmia is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Like,
Volume is always amazing.
and when you finally get the Soul Stone, when you wake up in like this
puddle.
this puddle of
You wake up
your
in the
piss.
wake up in the piss of a celestial.
And you wake up and there's like this bloody like, you know, this eclipse going on. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's like, I think that's like probably my favorite kind of, you know.
I love how the contrast is like in Infinity War, it's Thanos, like the most powerful guy in the universe. And in this movie, it's Hawkeye. Who's
The
like,
second most powerful guy in the universe.
No, he's the most powerful.
I just love that contrast with the.
But I was really impressed that they did the same justice to him. Is that he goes through that same process of losing a loved one, and he gets it, and the same scene again, but he just turned the other way in the pool, and he gets up, and it's just like, shit, it's exactly the same thing. It makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Very good, very satisfying.
Very satisfying. And one final thing I wanted to mention was that just in the time travel thing, Doctor Strange watched Endgame in Infinity War, and Thanos watched Infinity War in Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah, he did.
Wait, say that again.
Doctor Strange, when he was doing the whole 14 million time travel thing, he saw Endgame in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And then Thanos, because he was brought back from the front thing, he skipped. Basically, he had his Infinity War in Endgame.
He watched Infinity War through Nebula's projection thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what way to watch it.
You know what? If Thanos was really smart, he would never have entered this, right? If he was smart, he would have continued.
That's what I thought was going to happen, that his will becomes stronger because he's destined to succeed.
Yeah, because he watches himself die, but he's not fazed by it. He's like,
Exactly. And that is history. No, that is
that's his destiny. That's his destiny. So,
But it's his fatal flaw. He cannot stand the fact that these people who post snap are still trying to fix this shit. He's like, nah, I need to kill them all.
And technically are getting close to it, so yeah.
If he just left it, then they would have fixed it, and then he would have failed.
but I think he has a fear that they fix it.
Yeah, I think maybe
No,
he
but
realizes when they
that's
go to
him.
what's that, Morgath? The planet?
Morag.
Yeah.
Morag.
Yeah.
He realizes they've got the Power Stone now, which shouldn't have happened. Therefore, he has to do something about it.
Yeah, so he has to go back. Otherwise, that would fix it, and he couldn't do anything about it.
No, but even if he goes back, then technically that would have happened. That never happened. Ooh, unless he believes that. Ugh, Jesus Christ.
Unless he's such a narcissist that he cannot stand the fact that one universe is peaceful and that his is balanced. That he needs to make sure that everyone that he's aware of falls under his command.
But if he kept going in his future, then it would have ended up the same way as it ends up in this.
To be honest,
future.
I don't think Thanos even understands this concept of time travel.
No, but that's the thing. If it ends up the same way, he ends up dying, but he has the fear that the Avengers might actually redo what he did. So that's why he wants to go.
No, but they would have redone what he did anyway. So he was right. They would redo what he did, if he didn't
No, but
go
he
back
doesn't
in time.
know. He doesn't know that they'll redo it.
But they did it, so he was right.
What do you mean they did it? They hadn't redone it yet.
No, but they redo it before he goes. Well,
He
goes
doesn't
back in
know
time
that.
at the
He doesn't
same
know
time.
that.
The only thing he needs to
doesn't
be
know that
the,
because-
the only thing he needs to fear is that they have succeeded in traveling through time. And if that's possible, then they can take the consequences of some of his actions, go back, kill him,
and undo it. Yeah.
and if he's out of the picture and there's no one to stop them, eventually they can collect all the stones and then.
But also,
undo all
I
the
think he
damage.
got very tempted by the fact that he knows that all 6 are right there. And all he needs to do is just travel to them.
Oh yeah, that could be very.
It's the ultimate temptation. It's like, well, look, I was able to get it last time. I can now smash them all
And
now.
he's obviously seen that 5 years or whatever into the future. That's when he gets them.
But I stick by it that if he doesn't go back in time, he fails.
Yeah,
You mean he doesn't go
If he does go forward in time, he fails.
Yeah.
He fails what?
he fails his.
his plan to
Yeah,
destroy.
that's why he
to
goes
kill
Yeah,
forward.
because they come back and get the Power Stone.
Yeah.
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 But did he know that they went and got the Power Stone?
Yeah. Because of Nebula.
But he sees Nebula. Does he see Nebula? Oh, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Even if the Avengers did the rightful thing, restored the Power Stone back after they used it, Thanos still has to live with the fact that he has to live through that timeline where eventually he will get killed. And
Yeah,
that
he
any
doesn't
Avengers,
know. Yeah, he actually doesn't know if the Power Stone's going to be returned. That's what gets him.
He
Yeah.
doesn't. And
Yeah.
if he just stayed there, maybe he would have been like, eventually I'll get the stones, but then they're going to kill me anyway, and then they're going to get the stones again and reverse it. So,
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
So he wants a different outcome.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
And he also says in this battle, like when he's fighting Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man, that he's never fought. The fight and violence has never been personal, but this time it is.
Yeah, this time it is.
yeah.
So yeah, it is a different Thanos. It's I think that's one of the best things about this movie is that you are dealing. It's the same villain, but it's a different sort of villain, different personality, working for different things.
And you get that feeling of this time it's an actual invasion force.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna take over Earth. Not just with the stupid dinky ring spaceship, but now it's the whole damn thing.
One of the good things about this movie, I thought, they defeat Thanos in the first 20 minutes, and then they go back, and I thought all they were doing now was they somehow had to go back and get the Infinity Stones. I never thought that Thanos would come back into this because I knew there would be a battle, and I was trying to figure out. The smartest thing was that they brought Thanos back into this fight in this way that it definitely makes sense the way he comes back and the reason he comes back, etc., etc. So I just wasn't expecting that to happen, and the fact that this battle was it was just crazier than the last battle.
I had a crazy theory after the first 20 minutes. I thought, it's before Thanos said he destroyed the Infinity Stones with the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
When they turn over the thing and there's no stones in it, I'm like, oh shit, someone must have stolen it off him. I'm like, shit, what if Red Skull stole the stones off him and now Red Skull has all the stones and then now they gotta go hunt Red Skull who's just destroying planets or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That would have been.
That would have been interesting.
Wait, at which point was this? when they found out the stones were gone?
In the first 20 minutes
Oh.
after they cut off his hand.
Right.
Is Red Skull, what's Red Skull's origin story?
No, he also tried to do the superhero serum, but his own version, and it screwed up his face. So
Yeah.
he peeled it off.
That's the thing. So I think Captain America might not be completely done in this universe. There is an opportunity for them to do a movie with all his adventures returning the Infinity Stones because he has to obviously meet Red Skull again, which is
Right?
his
Yeah.
arch nemesis.
Captain America, Infinity Road Trip.
But the other question is, do you have to meet Red Skull to return the Soul Stone? Because Red Skull is like this. He's like a tour guide, but he's like he's a guardian. But he tells them what they need to do to gain access to this stone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like this mountain and there's this magic behind it that traps the Soul Stone there.
Yeah.
Which first of all doesn't mean that it has to be there. Someone might have put it there a long time ago. As like a way of trapping it. It's like the Horcruxes, put it in a trap. But the other thing is, what happens if you just go back and then you go back to the thing? I mean, this is a conversation not worth having, to be honest. Why don't you go back and then it just disappears and goes to the machine? All right, cool. All right.
No, why don't you just go back to Volodymyr? Like, yeet! And just chuck it in.
Chuck it in the water. It's like,
I've always wondered this. What happens if you just eat an Infinity Stone?
Did he just die?
yeah, he'd probably die.
He probably just died.
Okay, let's not discuss that.
Depends which one.
But that's a good point you bring up because if the Soul Stone is not there, I don't think Red Skull needs to be there. I
So
think
he's just
there.
released.
I think he's just there to guide the Soul Stone when it is there. But if the Soul Stone's not there, I don't think he needs.
But
to
also,
do
like
that.
this, I mean, it's a very shallow story about the Red Skull just rocks up on this planet and realizes he has to guard the Soul Stone. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think the reason he goes there is because he initially wants to get. He's into all this Infinity Stone stuff.
does he
knows
know about it? How does this guy know about it?
He
He
knows
had the
about it.
Tesseract.
Yeah,
He had the Tesseract.
He knows about it.
He was into all this mythology.
No, he was trying to get the Tesseract.
No, he had the Tesseract.
When did he have the Tesseract?
That's how he got transported to the Warmere.
In Captain America, the first Avenger. He has
He
the
holds
Tesseract.
onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you remember how they
no,
made
the
weapons out of...
Tesseract sends him there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But he doesn't hold on to the Tesseract.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
What?
He holds onto it and then it sends him there.
Okay, so then he goes in, then what happens to the Tesseract?
It just falls into the ocean or whatever.
What? No, okay.
So he gets sent away.
He
but-
gets sent away, but he doesn't keep the Tesseract. He doesn't go to
lets go
Vormir
of
with
it.
the Tesseract.
Nah,
Okay.
he lets go of it.
He drops
Yeah,
it,
so-
and it melts through the bomber and just falls
Sure,
down
but he
somewhere.
has the Tesseract. But how does he know the story of the... How does he first of all know that the
think
Tesseract is an Infinity Stone? He
I think
doesn't.
he doesn't know until he goes into space.
Yeah.
Until he goes into space. And then
He goes into
finds
space,
out.
then what happens? Can this guy just fly through space? Clearly not. He's a human being.
Because
I think he got teleported to a planet.
I think the
He got
space.
where? Vormir.
Maybe
Vormir.
Vormir.
And
then-
that's it.
No, I think the
That's
space.
it. And he's like suddenly, I think there's a soul stone here, and I need to be a guide for whoever, which bloody goat needs to get up
maybe
this
he
mountain.
maybe he
there
didn't
was
go.
maybe there was another guide there, and then because I'm just talking out of my ass now, this could not be true at all. There's another guide there who went there a long time to search for the Soul
Howard the
Stone,
Duck.
and then he goes to search for the Soul Stone, and because he can't get it, now he has to become the guide until someone else comes searching for it.
That is possible.
But ultimately, it relies on. This is very nitpicky, and we don't really need to care. I mean,
Yeah.
We don't care.
The thing
Yeah.
is, Red Skull will never be able to get the Soul Stone because he doesn't love anything. So
Yeah.
there's nothing he will
that's what you
sacrifice.
said about Thanos, you know. Damn, son.
That's the thing. Thanos.
Red Skull loves himself.
Red Skull loves noses because he doesn't have one.
It's Michael Jackson.
His other nose.
Yeah.
He loves Michael Jackson.
Got the Voldemort complex going on.
Marvel Universe is going to keep going.
Yeah, where to from here is a
Yeah,
real big
well,
question.
theories. So, as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So, well, I was talking to Shravan about this in the car. There's definitely Guardians of the Galaxy 3 happening. James Gunn directing it. So,
Yeah, that's right. He
Thor-
got reinstated, didn't he?
yes.
Yeah.
So, Thor,
After that whole debacle on Twitter, which is
Yeah.
total bullshit. Don't even get me
Yeah,
started.
no,
on that crap.
absolutely.
we've talked about that before.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
But Thor might be in that. There's also talks of Taika Waititi directing a Thor 4.
Yes.
Thor might be
Oh,
in
man.
that.
Hopefully, fuck.
Which one would you rather see? Thor in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with James Gunn or Taika Waititi Thor 4?
What? Ooh.
Well, I'd love to see a Taika Waititi Thor after he has his stint with the Guardians of the Galaxy because
Yeah.
he's got no one to kind of be part of now. His family is probably
So
the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So you took the answer of both of them?
Yeah, sequentially.
Yeah, same. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, great. And there's, you know, Gamora is what they need to. There's still like a story arc there. You know, Quail, as you call it, is still trying to search for Gamora, I guess. But personally, I'm a huge fan of Thor, so I'm more interested in Thor.
I'd love if they
I'll go
brought
for it.
Beta Ray Bill into it.
Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck is this
think-
goat man?
I think he might come into it.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think he will.
Oh, shit.
Well, they
I
hinted
think-
at it. They hinted at it.
Enchantress might be the villain
Yeah.
because
We haven't
she's like
seen
a
her before.
major Thor villain that we haven't seen
Yeah.
yet.
She's basically like Loki as well.
Dude, anything is possible now because if I told you 3 years ago that Spider-Man would sling onto a Mjolnir thrown by Captain America and he's carrying a Iron Man version of the Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 stones, you wouldn't believe
And
me.
ends up onto Valkyrie.
You would not believe me.
That's very true.
Anything's game, man.
Now that these 22 movies are summed up really well and it's so satisfying that I think a lot of us will also be happy with them doing whatever the fuck they want,
Yeah.
like going a bit out of the way, and
I think
they don't have to
doing
necessarily
crazy
resolve
shit.
it the same way as,
Yeah.
because like, I mean, if it's going to take another 11 years, well, I'll give a shit. By then,
Yeah,
I'll
it's
probably
really
still be trying to figure out my life.
I think they need to do like, rather than big build-ups now, just do team-up movies or like get you excited for one movie and make that movie really good.
yeah. And have some really good, like, to an extent, standalone storylines like that.
And they've done really well with those, just standalone storylines and nice redemption arcs. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love those.
I think more team-ups would be good in the universe though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
very
or like
good.
a Doctor Strange and
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Doctor Strange and Thor would actually, I mean, they've actually already met, but they also work well together because, you know, Thor and these guys, they always, I mean, you've got the dark world and you're going through like these dimensions, the same thing as Doctor Strange, so they kind of work together
They
well
kind
too.
of, yeah, they do.
Yeah, in the whole their jurisdiction is a bit more than just the Earth.
Yeah.
That is good.
Spider-Man's always great.
Spider-Man's he's
plain and simple, but
he's grounded. He's just like
I would have loved a Spider-Man Cap team up, but that's probably not going to happen. But
I'd love to see villains. Like who could top Thanos in this? Who could be the next
Galactus.
real Galactus? I'm looking forward. Yeah, Galactus.
I don't know the story behind
Or
Galactus.
Iron Man Kang.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a real precedent for Kang to come because they
Yeah.
mess with time.
They mess with time, so that could happen.
But that means if they do, then they have to kind of go back into all this, don't they? And then try and recast all these people for like that sort of thing.
Yeah, they probably would.
So
Well,
they would.
yeah.
So they would have to, right? Like if you're trying to.
Yeah, like if I can't see them trying to bring in like Magneto and the X-Men because that the scope of that is just world domination, and after this, it's like that's not going to have much of an effect.
Yeah.
So they got to build it up.
But they
slowly, I think.
might bring in some people.
They'll bring in the X-Men eventually. I think.
Eventually. Yeah.
This movie also reminded me of Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past. Yeah.
And that
Except
you can't fuck around with
Yeah.
too much, you know.
Days of Future Past was a very intentional movie though, because they knew they stuffed up some of the movies, so
Yeah.
they had to rewrite some of the wrongs.
Oh,
Shit,
really?
I need to watch that film again. I remember the ending was really good.
So
That movie was great.
because you know how
Yeah.
you know in X-Men 3 how like everyone dies.
Yeah.
And, like,
X-Men 3 was a piece of shit.
Yeah, so they basically made Days of Future Past
To wipe out the
to wipe
entire
out that.
Bryan Singer trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
But also it's who was that guy that directed the fucking second Star Wars?
Oh, Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
Do not
They're
mention
doing-
his
that's what
name.
they're doing. I agree. It's
We
like a
somehow
piece of shit.
always come back to Star Wars on this podcast.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
like
I was
it's like what they're doing at the moment to that. It's like they're just trying.
They're
to
retconning
wipe-
everything.
I was
Yeah.
actually comparing this to so after Force Awakens, I was very hyped for Last Jedi.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
of what they set up in Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
Heck yes.
But Last Jedi was I think it was a letdown.
Hell yeah.
Some people like it, but it was a letdown. This had the potential to, because the hype was really big for this one, but this did it so well that it made it, it didn't ruin Infinity War, and it even made the movies before Infinity War.
That's the
came
best thing about it.
Yeah.
Like, how rare is it that the Russo brothers or people like this like nail so much and
Yeah.
just do so well?
Because they could have easily done Last Jedi with this. So
And I think
It's very easy to fuck up a movie like this.
yeah.
the main difference, I think what Ryan Johnson was trying to do was his entire mantra was subvert expectations at any and all costs. And even if it was unnatural. Whereas this one was, they still managed to subvert expectations in Endgame, but they respected the viewer's connection with the characters.
Exactly. They didn't ruin the characters.
The characters were consistent. Like when Cap got in the elevator, he could have done the exact same thing, but he chose to be, okay, he's got the bronze, he can do it.
Yeah.
But he's being clever. He's
I
just
thought
saying,
it was going to be.
I thought it was gonna be the Winter Soldier scene. Yeah.
But it's actually a callback to the comics where Captain America's actually a sleeper Hydra agent.
yes, that's an actual callback, and that's when the Captain America title changes when he defects to like the freaking enemy. But
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, I heard about this
Yeah.
in the comics. I think you guys brought. I mean, not in the podcast, but you guys
Everyone,
discussed it.
everyone hated it.
Yeah, when was that comic? That was a recent one,
Two
wasn't
years
it?
ago.
Yeah.
2 or 3
oh,
years.
it got
Yeah.
completely crucified.
What? So I mean, yeah, of course it's going to get crucified, right? Like, does it make sense? Like,
It's very uncharacteristic.
So you make
No.
Captain America this whole time was actually Hydra,
He was a sleeper agent,
but meaning
kind
what?
of like Bucky.
Okay.
So like you
right.
switch him on, and then he's Hydra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like
You're pushing it. You're pushing it.
they could have done something like that with Thanos. Like they could have brought him in and then made him
Thanos is Hydra.
Thanos be cut one head off, two more grow in its place.
So Thanos was actually working for Red Skull the whole time.
Yeah, it's actually the other way around.
more in the line of subverting expectations.
see
Thanos
one
was
for
working
me.
for Agent Sitwell the whole time. Agent Sitwell is the actual villain.
Yeah.
But like I remember you were just saying you weren't expecting Thanos to come back.
No.
Yeah, that's how you subvert expectations. You bring him back and you made him.
No, I
Yeah.
thought Thanos would come back, but then when they fucking like took his head off in that scene, I was like, now I don't expect him to come back because I'm like, how am I going to even expect that this is how he's going to get back? It's
Yeah.
so kind of out there.
Yeah.
That was such a smart way of linking it as well. I don't know if that happens in the comics at some point, but two Nebulas that digital and share this connection, that giving away, that's bloody smart.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what happens when you have a team of really good writers who've seen the movie before the one that they're basing it off. So
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, no, well, they already planned. They had this.
They had
What that
plan.
means, if they sent Nebula on any other mission at a different time, it would have been
fine.
It would have different impact. Well, if it was before Thanos was alive, or who knows how long that guy.
So if Nebula went to New York instead of going to Morag, this wouldn't have happened.
No, but they weren't in Morag. It's just the same time, right? That they share the consciousness.
Still might have happened.
Yeah, it still could have happened.
Same
It's just that-
time.
Same time.
Let's say it happened at a point where Thanos wasn't even thinking of this shit,
Yeah.
and they weren't even together. Like Nebula wasn't with Thanos.
If Nebula wasn't born, if they went back to the 70s or something, then it wouldn't have happened.
Well, how old are these people? We don't know.
30, I reckon.
I mean you would think that if they were human, these guys
I think Thanos is pretty
probably
old.
hundreds and
Yeah.
thousands of years old. Maybe I don't know.
Well, Nebula? I don't know. how
Nebula,
old it is.
well, she's
She's part cyborg being
so she could
rebuilt.
be like hundreds of years old. You never know.
Could be.
Yeah.
Because with year is basically the Earth year. We don't know what that means for like these guys. Could be anything.
Oh, so the whole Nebula thing was because there was two Nebulas in the same timeline.
Yeah.
So it's not really about.
And how they share their consciousness, it's like a digital consciousness.
Yeah.
So
She's got like a cloud network just for her brain.
And it's across the whole universe, so even if she went to Earth, it would have
Yeah.
things up. Yeah.
because I initially thought it was because they're on the same planet, but they weren't.
Yeah, they weren't.
This guy was away and they was setting course for Morag,
Yeah.
but she was already on Morag.
I think that's it. Oh, the only thing I want to say is Thor going to get back into shape.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I'm okay with the way they did Thor in this movie, but you do get a little bit annoyed that he just isn't in his prime form, therefore can't do his things. But, you know, they have to bring the other fans of Thor, and there's a lot now, especially with the Ragnarok and Infinity War. You know, you got to do him justice. And he's the most ripped person out of any casting member. So, and to be honest, he was already ripped in this movie. It's just that they put on the fat suit.
Yeah. He's got like the fat six pack. Did you see that?
It's
Like
like
you can still see his six pack coming out.
Yeah, but it's fat.
still there. I think it's also it's not just a physical. It's like a more of a mental thing. You got the feeling that when he was fighting Thanos, he wasn't in his prime mental state of fighting him again. And look, Thor's got the power of transmutation. He could change the way he looks. That's why the goatee appeared when he got Stormbreaker.
Yeah, dude, that was did you see his beard change?
Yeah, his beard
and it was
changed.
like it had this
He turned
Nordic,
into like this
this
Viking.
Norse. I know. He has
Yeah,
this Norse. Also, where is New Asgard? Do you know how they rock up there?
Yeah, it's
is
in-
that in America?
It's in Norway, Tonsgard.
It's in the same place that Odin
Odin
dies.
died. Yeah.
Same place
good.
Odin dies, and the same place that Red Skull comes in to get the Tesseract in that little past scene in Captain America: First Avenger.
Oh, what?
Tonsgard.
Yeah.
That little Norse village.
But in the comics, it's different places. New Asgard. It's some random place. It's in America.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's like Oklahoma
Well,
or
technically,
something.
the Vikings went to America, so they're the first ones to discover America. So
All right. I think that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed
Okay, bye.
all our spoilers.
You could literally talk about this for days. Actually,
we could.
There's so
we
much
probably still
connecting
missed all
threads.
stuff.
It's too much to talk about.
Yeah,
We didn't even talk about Captain America's ass.
It's
We mentioned
America's
America.
Did we mention it?
We mentioned it.
Yeah, we
Okay,
mentioned it.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have any questions or if we missed out on any theories, let us know via.
Get us on all the pipelines. Add me on Facebook. No, don't add me on Facebook.
So we've got Facebook and Instagram at Cognitive Recalibration, Twitter at C Recalibration, and email at cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep, and we're on all podcasting platforms now. And the main thing is, if you haven't liked our Facebook page yet, please do that, and please do share this podcast with anyone else that might be interested.
I suggest listening to it on Spotify, to be honest, because Spotify has a good... If you're like me and you listen to podcasts on speed, because I do, like at 1.2 and stuff, it's got like a good selection of speeds.
Yeah.
Because these guys are quite boring, so you can watch them real quick. I'll listen to them.
Fair enough.
That's a good suggestion.
Thanks for the feedback.
And also, the normal podcast app on Apple is a hunk of shit. But so is this podcast, and never... Nah, jokes.
So we fit well together.
Is that why you keep inviting me?
So talking of this podcast, it's actually been a year since we started. So we started with Infinity War. It's been a year now.
Oh wow! Congrats.
Time travel.
So thanks to all the listeners who have supported us over this year, and thanks for listening.
It's been a great 12 months. I think we've had a lot of film releases in the past year itself.
It's going to feel a bit different.
They're all
without-
shit.
It's gonna,
We know what the worst one was.
Avengers Infinity War.
Marvel can suck my ass, Captain Marvel. Fucking.
You fucking did see Hellboy.
Oh,
No, I haven't seen it. What, is that out?
Yeah, don't watch it.
Annabelle comes home. I think is going to be the next big thing we're looking forward to.
But yeah, I know. I think you're right. It's going to be very different now that this.
Yeah, I know. Just because we really started this podcast to talk about MCU. That was like our main thing. And then we
But
talked
now
about
we're only going to talk about Oscar bait movies. So.
Now
So
we're
Black Panther, is it?
we'll still be talking about movies.
Yep.
Oscar bait specifically. Like
bait
that
specifically.
Will Smith movie where he's...
Gemini Man?
No, that old Will Smith movie where he's Time or some shit.
What?
Or Meryl Streep's Time, or he writes letters to Time. What's that movie called?
Bro, I don't think you understand that movie. You've suggested so many things.
No, I know the one you're talking about.
Hitch? Is it Hitch? Am I thinking of the wrong movie?
Independence Day.
Now switch.
No, it's that really terrible movie.
Yeah.
It's got a good cast though. It's got like
It's got Ed Norton in it, I think.
Yeah, Ed Norton, Michael Pena.
What movie is this?
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's got a good cast, but it's terrible apparently.
Yeah. We're only going to talk about that movie from now on. Yeah. First, we've got to figure out what it's called, but then get back to you on the next episode with what the name is.
Yep. So we'll leave you for now. And anything else?
No.
That was Endgame. So we'll see you in the next episode. Probably Detective Pikachu or something like that.
Yeah.
What are the other Marvel ones that we're looking forward to? So there's
Far From Home.
You're going to be
Spider-Man.
back for Far From Home. Kireeti's going to be back for Far From Home. Bhaskar's going to be back for...
Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange 2.
Where is that?
If that's
Are
even
they
on the
doing
horizon.
that? Yeah, are they?
Bhaskar will be back for that Will Smith movie.
Bhaskar will be back for the next Telugu movie.
The Telugu dub of Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
Bhaskar will be back for the full-length review of A.R. Rahman's song for Endgame.
Oh, jeez.
But we'll all be back. So until then, we'll see you in the next episode. So
Absolutely.
see you later.
If
Bit
you
of
see
pleasure,
me in the
guys.
street, I'll give you $1.
Time travel.
And he is hoping that that Tony's the only Stark that dies this weekend.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Game of Thrones.
He's talking about the Will Smith movie. The Will Smith movie. His last name's Stark.
All right. Okay. We'll probably talk Game of Thrones at some stage. But
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you are going to speak Canada? Damn, son.
He doesn't watch it, but I'll talk about it.
That'll be the one episode I'm not hosting. All right. See you later.
Take care, guys.
Time travel.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.